In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we all happen to be from the same gen, and we think that it's the best one, not because we as people were better, but because our entertainment was. So prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore whilst complaining about the utter sewage filth that sloshes its way through the pipes of Hollywood and makes its way on screen today. Holy crap, The Mandalorian is a dumpster fire, and I'm so glad that today is the last day we will be discussing it. How's everybody doing? The camera's low.
Doing fine.
Good.
1 week closer to graduating.
1 week closer to graduating.
Currently just planning how to make you talk more about The Mandalorian in the future.
Oh,
I mean, is the show gonna be canceled or there's going to be season 4, right?
they could cancel it after this. They implied there's more, but man, I don't know why anyone would want to watch more. So
Because everyone in the forums, the Star Wars forums and Discord channels saying that they're gonna do season 4. So I was wondering.
yeah, they're planning on it.
Plans say they are planning on it, but
Whether or not it happens, that's a different question.
Yeah, because talking about this finale was not that leading into a 4th season in some way. I mean, it did in a moment, just like for
Mhm.
like 10 minutes. And then you're like, oh, they are chilling. They're just chilling.
Yeah, I know. They're like, you guys are gonna go off and do adventures, and then they're not.
Exactly.
it still does set them up for the hey, this is going to be our new normal. We've got our home base here, our home base on.
Why would the home base not? I don't know. It's silly.
Why would you want to watch the new normal?
Sorry, I started asking a question and then realized, there is no answer because this is a show for silly people.
It is if you really really enjoy it. Yes, you're probably silly. But if you're like, okay, it's not the best, but it's entertaining, you're fine. You're fine.
Yep.
Sorry, we were 10 minutes late today. My family's in town and they're for a funeral. Don't clap yet. Jared clapped too soon when I told him. My parents were in town. So we're a little bit late. If we ever start more than 10 minutes late, something's gone horribly wrong. Because sometimes if we're waiting on guests, I'll give people a 5-minute leeway or 10-minute maximum leeway. But yes, we're graced by the presence of Bearded and the Ingram Mexa. Hello to him. He's great. Jared's eating off camera, on camera, just with it turned off. And my brother is currently driving home because he was just here, so he will be joining a little bit late. And I don't know I haven't heard from Corwin, so he there he is. Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil.
Corwin appears.
I literally just said, I said, I don't know if Corwin's coming, and then I had a little thing. Corwin joined the room.
Well,
So,
sorry,
joining us.
I was chasing some bad guys. So anyway, but I'm free now. Aha!
Did you get them?
We did actually. They were
Good.
it's actually an interesting story, but that's for another time.
All right.
Well, we have not a
I'll
lot
put it
to
this
talk
way.
about tonight,
I'll
actually.
put it this way. I had my gun out, like my actual rifle, not my pistol. Which, if you know anything about the cop world, when rifles come out,
It means you had time to post up.
when rifles coming out, shit's going down.
What's going down? Mm-hmm.
Well,
Anyway,
That's freaking cool. Dude, the only time you see rifles in Mexico is when a gang is attacking each other or a normal person or the police. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
personal experience living in Mexico. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I fortunately know where not to go, so I never experienced something like that. I'm gonna knock on wood real quick.
Yeah.
You gotta remind me, what part of Mexico do you live in, Mexa?
he's in Puebla.
Puebla.
Which is, I think, the safest
Pueblano.
state, perhaps. Well, my opinion. And I live in the safest place that I can live in this state. I believe so. I literally could, leave my door open and no one,
Nice.
I feel safe.
Wow.
Yeah, almost
don't-
like in the United States.
Maybe you just don't like broadcast that on the internet that you leave your door unlocked.
Ah, no, I don't leave my door open, and it's not like anyone from America.
It
It's
was
Mark Clark.
theoretical, guys.
Mark
It's
Clark
theor-
going to run down here in Mexico and steal my my
I know he's
microwave
been
or
petitioning.
what.
He's been petitioning to come and kidnap you up to the States for a little while now.
I mean, I'm
He
all
wants you up
for
here.
that, but maybe that's not televised.
There we go.
That's not broadcasted.
throw our one channel member under the bus. It was him.
Yeah, sorry if my levels are off. I'm trying to fiddle with everything. Last week, everyone said I sounded good, but then when I was watching the playback, when I was watching the playback, my sound was literally like muted. I couldn't even hear myself, and so now I think I'm too hot. I'm trying to. There was an auto leveling thing that got turned on because I cleared cookies trying to fix the Spanish issue, but sometimes my streaming service gets stuck in default Spanish, which is fine because I can read Spanish, but some of the options are hard to figure out.
Yeah, watch.
Anyway, there's not a lot to talk about this week. We've got the Mandalorian season finale and some bad takes, and that's about it. I haven't even finished a new book this week. I've got 2 hours left. So
I got about 2 hours left on Shadow of the Hegemon. Been going through the Shadow series.
yeah, I need to do that.
They're
eventually.
very good. They're so different than the Ender's books, but they're so good.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Corin?
When did the last episode? Is it episode 8 or 9?
8.
8. So this was the finale.
That was the finale?
Yeah.
It's episode.
That was the flipping finale?
Yeah, I know. It was funny. You texted me. Corwin, you texted me saying, "Oh, I finally caught back up with Mandalorian," and I was like, "It's over." I'm finally caught up, so I'll be relevant weekly. And I'm like, "It's the last episode, Corwin."
I was like busting my butt to get it finished. And I'm like, oh, and then I watched episode 8, and I was like, okay, there's going to be one more episode because like we're going to talk about it this week, right? So I was like, oh, there's got to be one more episode, and I'm just not. I honestly don't care anymore. And that was the finale.
Yeah, that was the finale.
Like, do we need to say any more about it? Like, do we need to say any more about Mando 8? Like I think that just sums up. That was it. That was the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
What?
As much as I have been the defender of Mandalorian and still loving it in general because I love Star Wars and everything, this was absolutely the most disappointing season overall of Mandalorian. And I liked this episode okay. I liked the previous one a little bit better, but yeah.
But as the season finale,
As a season finale, yeah. I don't know. It set itself up to be the okay. We're going to take a break now because they've got a new normal they're setting up.
It was the season. It was the equivalent of Game of Thrones last episode. It was terrible. That's a season finale, it was just like,
come on. The last episode of Game of Thrones is better. It's way better than this one. In the last episode, at least things happen. Horrible.
What's crazy is that this was arguably the best episode of the season.
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was a good episode.
But it's still bad. I didn't like.
You gotta remember episode 8. What happened in it? Was that a Lizzo episode or was that 7?
No, that was
6. 6 was Lizzo. 7 was they
go to capture Mando.
Yeah, episode 7 is titled "The Traitors" or "The Spies."
Spies, yeah.
And then episode 8 turns out there are no spies.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. That's right. I watched them all in like a sitting, and so I have them all kind of like
jumbled together.
But I remember watching the last one, and I was like, "All right, that's it. Like, that's the end of Mando."
Yep, that was it.
That's it.
I know David will probably want to chat about it too.
I legitimately thought there was another episode coming out. I was like,
yeah. Well, before we get into it too much, we just got to shout out Mark Clark, who's been a member for 6 months now. And he gets a shiny gold star, so that's awesome. I've tried to customize the membership little badges, and I worked really hard, and I came up with a concept that I thought was great, and I finished all of them. And then when I uploaded them, they were so small you couldn't see them. And I'm like, well, these just look bad. And so the stars look better. I can show you. They looked really freaking cool too. Here, let me pull them up. Share screen.
While he's doing that, Mexa, how is your channel doing, man? I haven't heard an update on your channel for a while.
Yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of stuff, and sometimes I don't have the energy to do a video.
Gotcha.
I wanted to do a lot of videos this week, but I was like, I don't see the time to do it. This looks cool.
So I didn't make them. I used I used one of those little AIs, but I kept tweaking it until I found. I thought like a Mayan calendar thing would be would be cool. So I got like a regular one, and then I made them like silver, gold, and then platinum. And then for the next tier, a little face in there, and then it would go silver, gold, and then platinum. And, and I was like, these look really freaking cool. And then, but you legitimately can't see anything.
Oh man!
So it was discouraging. So I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm trying to come up with a new concept for how to make those membership badges cooler.
Is there any way to kind of work on like just scaling them up for when it's uploaded, so it's uploaded in a way that's a little bit better?
No,
because that would suck not to be able to take advantage of these because they look great. They really do.
It's just when they pop up in the chat, they're so small. It needs to be a smaller concept. It's just it was a failure. It's a total failure. I'm sorry, Mark. I tried to customize it and make it cool for you.
Hey, could you like increase the pixel size or the pixel amount so when
it's not the problem. I would have to. It's not the problem.
It's just the format of the
no. Chat. It's the physical size of. If you look in the chat, go on YouTube. Pull it up. It's just a really small icon, and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
So I need to simplify. Try again. We've got a little bit of news. We got a little bit of news. Hold on. Where did my window go? It's right here. There we go. Here we go. National Treasure: Edge of History has been canceled after one season. So you're welcome.
Bro.
Shocking! Shocking!
Corwin, did you watch this? Because it was bad.
I watched like 3 episodes.
That's all you needed to watch.
You lasted 3 episodes?
I lasted 3 episodes.
I lasted 4, and that's how.
I
wanted
couldn't. I couldn't
Jesus.
bring myself to start episode 2. I tried several times. I was like, does this just keep getting worse? Because episode 1 was just embarrassing.
The reason why I lasted 3 episodes is because my wife is a sucker for television shows. Like when she folds laundry
Yeah,
or does something,
she is.
she just turns on the TV as like mindless. So she was watching. I was like, all right, I'll sit down and watch it while I help her fold clothes. And no.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's embarrassment.
I decided I wanted to give it a try and just see how it was compared to what you guys were saying and everything. And I don't even know if I finished the first episode. I'm not like giving up on it because I actually also tend to just be willing to go through even with it being terrible. But yeah, it wasn't great.
This is probably the only
Or-
time where this
and-
advice works. Give up on it.
Yeah.
Give up.
And that's coming from our resident apologist.
And I still can't get over the fact that the secret ingredient was taco seasoning for the empanada. The secret
Minced
ingredient is McCormick taco seasoning.
For the family recipe. The
Just
passed
out of curiosity.
down generations from Mexican abuela to Mexican abuela daughter. Nieta. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. It was mentally delayed. That's the only thing I
So-
can say about that show.
So here's a
Literally
question
was-
for you, because
So,
having not even finished the first
Taco
episode,
seasoning.
I did see that the very opening scene, they get the recipe or whatever, and it has taco seasoning on the list there. Does that like become a bigger thing? Because I was like, oh, was that all that happened?
No.
Does it become a whole thing where they're like, oh, we
No,
gotta find this?
No, Jared, it was a gag. It was a gag
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be the pendant. It was passed down for generations, and you're expecting the pendant. But it was a recipe. That's
No,
good.
in the show, it was
All right.
supposed to be like a cultural thing that she was like, "Oh, I feel so
Honoring
close to
her
my
grandma,
roots,
yeah.
and my mom was
Mhm.
Mexican, and she died, and so this is where I connect with her because she used to do those empanadas."
Okay.
No, my
Empanadas
God.
de tinga too. Like you know,
Tinga is Google it. It showed them that tinga is pollo, is chicken
yeah.
with tomato sauce, basically, and it said minced beef.
Yeah, this
You-
is Tinga.
you-
This is
You
Tinga.
had to know. Yeah. You
So
had
first
to
out,
know.
first out, yeah. Tinga is chicken and tomato sauce and onions, and that's about it,
Mhm.
right? And it's
And
the
you do
recipe
tacos
called for
with
beef,
tostadas.
and you eat it on tostadas. You don't put it inside empanadas.
Exactly. I mean, it is. Sometimes they do it. Actually, in Puebla they do it, but it's not like regular empanadas. There are some.
You know,
giant
now that I think about it, I bet you they created that recipe with an AI. I bet they I bet they asked ChatGPT, "Hey, give me a traditional Mexican recipe,"
Chat GBT isn't that bad.
and it came
This
up
is
with
simply people
It's not
empanadas
that
de tinga.
It's not that dumb.
Empanadas de tinga. What is that going to be? Well, we all know that there's the beef in tacos sometimes. What is Taco Bell like? Let's just do a Taco Bell. That's what they frickin' did. Like, it's just
They were probably
This-
getting ready for a
Spanish
co-sponsor
resort.
thing, you know.
There's more news though.
It's
Yeah.
like it's called asco, like asco. Like how ugly, how like stupid, like that's what this is. Like chaos. Like what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's not the
Why
only
got
news story.
Mexican culture better than the people who were trying to pretend Mexican culture in a show. Like it wouldn't have been hard. They could have got Mexa on the phone. Hey, can you explain this? What it is?
Give him a call.
And I would say, are you dumb? Minced
Yeah.
beef?
If it's
So-
yeah, it's the perfect. Like I don't think that cultural appropriation is a bad thing. I think it's a wonderful thing to appropriate someone's culture. It's to appropriate is to appreciate, and but if there ever was an instance of cultural appropriation, it was the recipe in National
wrong,
Treasure.
Yeah.
Because it was the clueless, like pretending to care and
Yeah.
not even doing an inch of research. Anyway, there's more news. I've been trying to move on for a while. You guys see the casting for Lilo and Stitch?
I
haven't,
saw
but yeah.
some-
Well, everyone's complaining. Everyone's complaining about the casting for Nani.
Nani?
Nani, yeah. Everyone's complaining about the casting for Nani because she's too white. But
she's Hawaiian.
exactly, the actress is
It's actually
100% Hawaiian, but her skin isn't dark enough for the liberals. But these are the same people that were celebrating the race swapping from the Little Mermaid and all of the other race swaps, right? But and they just announced that the actor for
Over Bubbles.
for Bubbles is going to be played by a woman who's not black. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard many things.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's another black guy who's playing Cobra Bubbles.
I think that they've added a cast. There's going to be 2 of them because there was backlash, but you could just cast the voice actor.
Yep.
Because
he looks perfect.
because he was modeled after him.
Just and if he's not a good actor, just get Terry Crews to do it. Terry
No,
Crews
but
would be a great Cobra Bubble.
He is a good actor.
Yeah, he
though.
would.
He's great. He's a real actor that does voice acting. He's one of the few
get
that does both.
Denzel Washington to do it. I could see Denzel being Cobra Bubbles. Totally not in his usual.
You got a
like
ton
his
of great
way.
options for sure. Yeah.
But
I'm
the
just
voice actor looks
I'm just sitting
fantastic.
on pins and needles waiting for the release of Stitch. So if it's not played by an illegal alien, I will be upset.
The voice actor looks fantastic. I don't know, and I'm sure he'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because
I recognize the name, so I know that he's an actor who does other things. So yeah.
Yeah, he didn't he do Kingpin in the horrible Daredevil movie?
I think you're right.
That might have been someone else. That might have been another black guy. Now I'm going to look racist.
I know I've seen him in some other things though. Yeah.
I gotta Google it now. The other one, movie, not the Daredevil movie. I think I'm wrong, and now I'm going to look bad. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
Right now, they're going to ruin Lilo and Stitch.
I was definitely wrong, but man, they look real close. Okay,
You know, I do take solace in the idea though that no matter how much they try to ruin these movies with their remakes, we do still have the originals, and especially if you have a physical copy of it, we still have the originals. We can still watch those, and if it's great, cool. We have a new great thing. But if it's bad, I got my old one.
They've even changed Aladdin. The theme song to Aladdin was a terrible, evil, awful thing.
I gotta pull it up.
Michael Clark Duncan, you're right. Yeah.
I gotta pull it up. So I'm a little bit racist, but they're pretty. They're pretty close.
You're not wrong. Yeah, Michael Clark Duncan.
That is so
actually thought the
racist,
same
Alan.
thing.
So racist.
Yep.
I thought the same thing. I thought it was the same guy too. That was what my mind went to, but it's not obviously.
Now I can see them side by side. I can tell it's a different guy.
But also, you're talking about people you could have cast. Well, right there, you got Michael.
You could have cast Michael Clark Duncan. Okay.
Does he have a voice for it too? Woo! Yeah.
All I'm saying is I can't really be 100% certain that if I talked to one of these guys at a party and then 10 minutes later to the other one, I can't promise that I know I was talking to a different person.
You know, you're not making this any easier on yourself, Alex.
Yeah.
Some people look alike, though. I mean,
Yeah.
There we go. The real
you
national
and David look
treasure,
alike,
guys. The real national treasure is the wokeness we learned along the way.
I saw that.
Speaking of casting news, have you guys seen the casting for the new Harry Potter TV show?
I didn't know they announced it yet.
Oh yeah, baby! We got Ellen Page as Harry Potter. We've got Angela Ross as Hermione Granger.
BD Wong.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Who is that? You.
Yeah.
I don't know you, Alexander.
This is a
She's
joke.
in the
right?
Star
This is a
Trek.
bit.
It's rumors, but it's.
Oh yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Right,
That was
okay.
good. Come on,
There's-
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, Denzel. I can see him.
I
as Denzel.
take
I would
it-
take Freeman as
That's not Denzel
Dumbledore,
Washington.
though.
Yeah,
that's
if
the,
Freeman-
that's the
Freeman
joke,
is
Corwin.
If Freeman was
I know, but
Dumbledore, I would be
I
down
could
for
see
that shit.
I could see Morgan Freeman as Dumbledore.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Even
what
though
I
that's a
said.
race swap, I would absolutely be behind that one.
I can
Yeah.
see Morgan
100%.
Freeman as
Yeah,
It's just that it's not
beautiful.
about the race swap. It's just that they.
Oh
just-
wait, are we
I-
are we
They do
shipping
it for no good reason.
are we shipping Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman?
I like
Morgan
Morgan
Freeman.
Freeman.
Freeman. You need.
I would-
Honestly,
wise
Freeman
signal.
as yeah.
I'd have to sit on it a
could
bit,
totally
but
see
I don't immediately hate it.
No,
Yeah.
see, Morgan Freeman's got like the grandpa
Yeah, exactly.
esque,
Mhm.
which hits Dumbledore.
He
And he's
does.
got the voice. He's
I
got the
think-
voice.
I think
He's
he
also
pulled
got
off
like the
really
charm too, though. He's also like lovable
Yeah.
and like kind of whimsy.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
there,
And look
there
at
have
that
been
smile.
there have been TV movies where he's been, like a villain or like a hero or a bad guy or whatever, and he pulls that off really well too.
No,
Yep,
let's
yep.
be
Denzel
honest.
Washington, like every time I see Denzel Washington, I just think sports coach.
Oh, he
or-
did. He played Dumbledore in the Lego movie.
Well, he
let's
wasn't
be honest,
Dumbledore. He was a
It's not
different
Dumbledore. It's
wizard.
it's just was it just the unnamed wizard guy? Did he have a name? I thought it was Dumbledore.
Or was it Gandalf?
It was Gandalf. Yeah, it was Gandalf.
Guys, Morgan
What-
Freeman has literally played God before. If he can't play Professor Dumbledore,
And you believe it when he plays God.
no,
You're like, okay,
Yeah,
God
you
will
do.
look like that.
When you,
I don't believe it when they say God is a woman, but I believed Morgan Freeman is God.
Yeah, when
I
they
like
say God
seriously,
is
it's like
Morgan
he's
Freeman.
God.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right.
So
I
he
don't.
was just some random wizard in Lego Movie. He was Vitruvius, apparently.
The longer you guys keep talking, the more I'm into the idea. So
No, I'm,
Yeah, no,
I'm down
this
for
was
it, like,
the one joke casting that I was like, I could see
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
I haven't
I
seen
like
any of
the
this until you're showing it, but as soon as that popped up, I'm like, you know what? I'm good with this.
Yeah.
And they.
I can't say Denzel because, like I said, he comes off as coach or
Two
the
sports coach,
equalizer.
yeah.
Like he's just gonna start
Yeah.
slapping the crap out of people.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
I love the Equalizer.
Oh, I do too. All of
That's good.
Denzel's movies are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean the Equalizer 2 is to see.
the wizard in the Lego movies Vitruvius. It's not. It's
Apparently,
neither of them.
yeah.
You know what I think is
Yeah,
funny?
But there
actually,
was
now
a scene with Dumbledore or something. But what?
Literally, if you look at the replies, everybody in the chat is saying the same thing.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's the only one who gets
Like,
a pass.
seriously,
Yeah.
everyone's like,
Yeah.
yeah, everybody.
Well,
else-
we haven't even finished. There's more. There's
All right, let's go.
Paul Blart as Hagrid.
No,
I see it. Oh no, I can totally see that.
No,
And then the
he just
last
died.
one. Was there not another one?
Hodor will be a great.
I guess
Hagrid.
that was it. I thought there was a
Hodor
third
will
one.
be an amazing Hagrid.
But there was some Wheel of Time news.
Really, it's been like
And it's not coming out
years.
next month.
Well-
yeah, is that the news?
Wait a
Winter is
second, what?
coming. Says it's not coming next month.
which let me share. I gotta share this with sound though. So give me a second. Wheel of Time here.
I like in the chat. We've also got Guy Boy, whatever, saying Lizzo as Luna Lovegood.
Oh, there
Oh,
you
that's
go.
good.
You know,
Oh, I
can
missed this
believe not
con.
casting with the rest of them.
Oh, this was a banger. It's too late for it now.
After-
But Rick King Rames is
King
too
Rames.
light to play Michael Clark Duncan. It's funny because that's what they were complaining about. Okay. This one. Here we go. Can you guys hear
Hi,
it?
my name's Ayola Smart, and I play.
Yeah, you can hear it. Okay.
Hear it.
So they haven't. So right now, Jordan Con is happening right now, and they still haven't released a trailer for season 2, but they're working. They're already done filming season 3.
Really?
Yeah. Rafe Judd.
Oh,
He says it in this video. But here's like the teaser. We're not gonna watch the whole thing. It's 26 minutes long, but it's the first. It's the first reveal of Ayula Smart as Avienda, which is just the worst casting of all time. But they also cast Bane and Chiat as her spear sisters. So this is for you, Jared. This is for you.
Hi, my name's Ayola Smart, and I play Avienda.
Hi, my name is Maya Simonson and I play Chiad.
Hi, my name is Sara
Is
Caracas
that
and I play
means-
Bane.
Welcome
She
to
just-
Jordan Con.
Hey everybody!
Stop. Go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Isn't that like correct me. I don't know if Mex is on right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, man. Didn't she just like tell me to shove it? Like, isn't that a Mexican? Like,
that's kind of what it looked like. Yeah.
Isn't that like a?
Well, so they're
repeat it. I gotta see. I don't know
if I'm wrong or not.
They're doing maiden hand talk, which is a thing from the books.
Yeah.
I don't particularly love it, and I don't particularly love the one that goes like this.
Yeah,
because it looks like it looks like something else. Okay,
that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, is that shove it up
What people
your
would do to
bum?
me when I was
Yeah.
living in Mexico, and they would flip off white boy, reverse it a little bit so you can see this.
Okay, I'll mute it this time. Just so I don't know if we'll get this probably isn't something that they'll ding, but yeah,
it's not her. It's not the second. It's the third one.
The third one, yeah.
it's the twist. It's the twist too. It's
don't look good.
Shove it up your
What
bum.
you
Yeah.
do to people when you tell them to shove it? That's Mexican sign language. Shove
I think that's just universal language for
yeah.
something.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's not
it
that
don't look good.
common.
That's for sure.
I've seen it, but it's not that common. But
In Mexico, you do that or other things.
I have people do that to me all the time. Up your, oh madre! So, oh my gosh.
Yep.
I just love that only one of these actually has red hair. Like,
yeah, right.
I'm just like, I don't.
The one in
see
the
it.
middle looks like the mermaid, the little mermaid, a little less brown.
So the cast serves so Chiad. I think she could actually pull off Avienda's role pretty well. I don't love it. It's not what I imagine in my head, but I could learn to accept that as Avienda.
Yeah.
But so if you don't know this, the Aiel are in the books because they are a race of redheads. They are all genetically redheaded, and they live in the desert. And it's supposed to be that way because there was a long time ago in the history of the world building, there was a breaking of the world, and these people got displaced. And so they're not supposed to be there. They're supposed to feel out of place as pale redheads living in the desert, but they cast Eula Smart, who's black, in the role of a pale redhead. But what's worse is that it's very important to the plot, the color of their skin, because there's another character who doesn't know that he's part Aiel, and everyone keeps saying, "Hey, you look like an Aiel. You look like an Aiel." And the books describe them as looking like the cousin of Avienda. So I'm already upset about the casting, but you didn't even make her get rid of her dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Yeah, if they're going to go into it,
like she's only like, if you're talking about pigment, like she's not that black, right? She could probably get away with just looking tan, but give her red hair.
Yeah. Like if red hair is the defining trait, then sure you can have some variety in there, but that has to be the defining trait.
Or I don't know. I mean, maybe it's really dark red like these other two, but
yeah. Okay, but that's not Aiel.
Yeah.
I get that there's different shades of redhead, and sometimes people have real like you can get really brown that's almost red, and people if you're cheating on your Tinder profile, you'll count yourself as a redhead. Okay, I get that it's that hair color's a spectrum.
Yeah, but you would not look at this character in the middle and think that she's related
or on the left,
to...
like
look at all three of them. Do these people look like a race of people?
No,
not at all.
No, they all look like they just went to the same bad tailor.
Yeah, my beard. Most people will say it's like it's got a little ginger coloring in it, but most of the rest of my hair is kind of a lightish brown, and it goes into a ginger color here. And it doesn't show up on camera by any means, but still, yeah.
You're not a redhead.
Not enough to call it. Yeah, I'm not a redhead.
You're not a redhead. Stop trying.
So it's like, yeah, no. If you would not look at me and be like, "Whoa, that's somebody with a ginger beard." most of the time. You know, it's not standing out as much as it should.
Yeah, you're a redhead,
defining
and
characteristic.
you're a redhead, and I'm 6 foot tall. Okay,
And I'm white.
I come really close. Okay, I'm 5'11" and 3/4.
I was
Okay.
gonna say, I think you are pretty tall.
No, I'm not 6 feet tall. I'm 5'11" and 3/4. The only time I get to be 6 feet tall is when I give blood, because they don't care about the specific number. They just need my body weight index. Okay, so I'd say 6 feet because it's faster. But if someone asks how tall am I have to say 5'11" and 3/4. I'm not a redhead. Now, also, yes, Ayula Smart is very short, and the Aiel are supposed to be very tall. This one looks good. That's good, but I'm so upset.
Well, I mean, it just that's how we were last season too.
Yeah. Also,
and I think the costumes seem to suffer a little bit from what I think we saw in maybe not quite as bad, but almost as bad as the costumes for Rings of Power. In terms of it looks a little too clean to be, it looks a little too manufactured.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read any of the Wheel of Time, and so I didn't even watch the first show.
It looks way better than Rings of Power, but it still looks bad.
But that's what I meant by that is it looks very.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is I hate their spears. I hate the design of their spears. They look like toys, and they're way too short.
Yeah.
They went for a special thing, and they show them twirling them later on. Maybe I can find it, but I'm so pissed off about this show, guys.
Yeah.
I just gotta say that girl
we
has
expected no
beautiful
less,
eyes.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks great.
She looks great.
She
She's the
should
only
be
one that looks great.
Avienda.
Yeah.
Where's the scene of them doing the twirlies? You guys, you should definitely watch this because some of it's really.
I was going to say, I actually
embarrassing.
want to watch this.
Some of it's embarrassing. Like this, I don't even know what this is. Watch this part.
Yeah. Dark friends beware.
This is I actually like this casting. This is a young Bornhold. I can't.
Okay.
The kid Bornhold, who's that's a spoiler, but he's around for the whole series, and the other Bornhold isn't. Corin keeps phasing in and out.
Okay, I should be done in like 5 minutes.
They're not muted, Corin.
It just randomly cuts to this thing, and I have no idea what. I don't understand it.
Hi. I'm Rima Tiwiata.
Okay, so she's playing Shiriam Sadai. And
auditioned for Wheel of Time. They had a false name for the show. And false characters. The script was elevated and magical, but I still didn't know what show I was going to be in.
Why is this filmed like a Charlie Kaufman movie?
I thought the exact same.
You know what? It kind of feels like an audition.
No,
tape.
it's not. It's not.
You're right. You're right. That's like her audition tape.
She's talking about after this.
When I got the role, I found out.
She's looking in birds' nests.
I was shocked.
What the hell is this? Is this like a commercial for a
Also,
high pressure pill?
It felt surreal.
Ageless.
What was it?
David coming in with the bangers. He says, "Aren't Aes Sedai supposed to look ageless?"
I'm just saying.
I'm waiting for the Vagisil commercial to come up.
You know what?
It just keeps going though. Like the rest of it is. They set up an interview with Rafe Judkins and a couple of the cast talk, and then this just happens, and then the rest of the video is just people talking to camera, answering questions, and then this just felt so out of place.
There's an adult diaper commercial in this somewhere if you cut it.
If you're experiencing constipation, you need to.
But it just keeps going though.
Like I was floating.
there is an adult
I
diaper
love being in real time.
commercial in this. You just gotta edit it right. You don't even have to edit it. You just
If you suffer from moderate to severe Crohn's disease,
right.
Yeah.
You can always count on
If you feel
Depends
depressed,
adult
if you feel
diapers.
anxiety,
Nana visits.
do not take this
Nana
medicine.
visits Park, yep.
If you're
Yeah, good
experiencing.
one. Get some good stuff in there.
like it never comes to a point, and just watch how it ends. It's like,
It's so easy to become immersed in Shiriam. Their thoughts and moods and tactics and shifting intensities. And I look forward to fans experiencing the dynamics between Shiriam and novices, and Shiriam and Aes Sedai.
she goes.
Enjoy series 2.
Another tree.
That grandma dropped a hell lot of acid when she was young.
Did her camera just fall over?
What's up, Jordan?
That's it.
That just seems so weird.
The rest of the video is just people talking to camera like normal human beings.
Yeah, that's super weird.
That's weird. That's very weird.
It's so cringy. I think, but I found the part where they're twirling their spears.
It also was like when she apparently decided to film that bit. It was like she was thinking about cutting around and doing some other edits to it, because you see her doing things that like you don't think she would want to have on camera, like fixing her hair. Like she starts and then she smiles. Oh no, I'm gonna be serious. No, I'm gonna smile. Like
oh man,
Yeah.
I just noticed how rubber that
weirdly
shield looks.
inconsistent.
I just noticed how rubber the shield looks too.
Yeah, I saw that.
It looks like plastic or
How much
foam.
money did they spend on?
They spent $9,000 on wigs, and they couldn't get a wig for a Eula Smart.
Wow.
Oh yeah, look how short those spears are. I hate the spears. I absolutely hate the spears.
This isn't a spear.
No.
Spears are like 6-7 feet tall.
What's dumb is the entire functionality of a spear is the reason why you have a spear instead of a sword is because of the reach.
Yeah.
Length.
And it's very important in the books. David, you just read no, is it in book 2 or is it in book 3?
I haven't met this character yet, so I think it's
No. But did you read the? I think it's in book 3 where you meet Gawain and Galad.
Yeah.
Okay. It's it's a huge plot point. Like the fighting styles that are different between swords and spears specifically. But this would not give you the advantage.
Yep. And looking at the like the size of that spear and the length of the blade, the point on it, it's like a third of the spear.
It's more of a sword than it is a spear, and I hate it.
Look at the spear that she's holding versus the spear on her back. The spear on her back is longer, bigger, thicker, but that one's an itty bitty thing.
Yeah, I hate them.
Oh, she's tough. Badass.
They're so they're not even sharp.
Level 1 grade badass right there.
Like I get that this is like a cosplay right now, but it looks like this is going to be the quality of the show too, and you can see that they're round. You can see they're round.
It looks like a cosplay, not a show. And when you're doing a show, it is supposed to look realistic. Why does Lord of the Rings stand the movies? Why do they stand, at least the original trilogy? Why do they stand the test of time? Because they spent all that time, all that money, all that effort into those details, and it looks real. They didn't cheap out. They didn't cheapskate. They made real armor. They made real weapons.
Yeah,
I will give them props where they're deserved. I think the bow looks really good, and they did take the time to make custom fletchings and not just slap on modern fletchings like Willow.
Yeah.
Let's not get started with that again. Please, let's not do that again.
They just went to the store and bought a quiver of arrows and gave it to her character.
Yep.
Yeah, she twirls out like she's leading a medieval marching band. Exactly.
100%.
I will say again, these costumes look like great cosplay. Like again, this is exactly what you were getting back at with the Rings of Power.
It doesn't look
cool.
bad.
Like,
It's bad for a TV show.
They're cool, but yeah, it does not look real.
Anyway, I'll probably do some kind of like deep dive because I didn't finish watching it, but it got me too upset. But yeah, Rafe says right here they're already like done filming season 3, and they don't even have a trailer for season 2, and it's been over a year. Has it been a year and a half now? It's been a year and a half.
See, this is why winter is coming.
I don't know, but I just wanted to say I wish that we could be there.
He's also never gone to Jordan Con. Every year he comes out with a video explaining why he's not there. That's what this is.
Of costume, unsetting of wheel.
And I play.
Hey everybody, for what is now my annual tradition, I'm here to explain why I'm not at Jordan Con.
He's had 3 since becoming showrunner. He's had 3 years, 3 opportunities to show up to Jordan Con, and he's never gone.
Yeah.
Last year, because I was too busy filming season 2. But is season 2 filmed? Is it? I don't know.
Working hard on season 3 of Wheel of Time. I'm here on a set that features quite heavily in season 2. A scene that looks really.
Later on, he says they're on like the last shots of season 3. I'm just so baffled by all of this. It's confusing.
Yeah, but being done shooting season 2 because you're already shooting season 3, or even if there is a little bit of mixing, you should have something to be able to show. And maybe they'll still show it because you said it's this weekend that Jordan Con's going, and they haven't shown the trailer yet. But
it's kind of the end of the weekend.
Maybe
Sunday.
But yeah, because like yes, not everything shows very quickly. A trailer, but you look at something like Guardians of the Galaxy 1. It had been shooting for a whole 2 weeks when they brought a trailer to Comic-Con, I think. So like you could have a trailer when you're starting filming. And if you're done filming, you should be able to have a trailer pretty easily. That's kind of weird, huh? Yeah. I mean, especially if they end the weekend without one. That's weird.
Yep. Today's the last day of Jordan Con, so we'll see.
Anyway, it's weird. So
Awesome.
that's the news.
Some good
Let's talk
stuff
about how bad the man. Yeah. Let's talk about how bad the Mandalorian is.
I don't think we need to. I already summed it. That was the
David needs to hear your rant, and then I think Mexa has a rant too.
Yeah. I wanted to ask. It's great that Corwin is here because
I'll rant. The Mandalorian.
I've got like 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm gonna bounce. So
okay, you rant then.
Okay, you rant.
The Mandalorian sucks. Done. No, like it's stupid. They set up this entire season that one of the Mandalorians is bad. There's a bad DeLorean, and that whole thing went to nothing. The reveal was, David didn't even realize it until I explained it to him. There is no traitor. It's just the Beskar troopers.
I didn't catch there being the setup of there being a traitor. They
straight up say that the Guy Ritchie was rescued by a Mandalorian.
Oh.
The reason he never made it to trial. First off, he never made it to trial and no one found out.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird plot point.
Stupid. It was idiotic.
There was so many, and they have to do this because who did they give him to? They gave him to anybody? The actress that was canceled?
Gina Carano.
Gina Carano. They gave him to Gina Carano.
So they killed her off.
Because Gina Carano was going to take him in. Oh, wait, she's written out. We can't have her anymore. She's gone. Oh, so that lets us say that, no one knew that he suddenly just disappeared and he's gone. And he's suddenly back in power with all these special dark troopers and all this stuff. And then it's just there, and and then he's there. Oh, but wait, the Mando doesn't have the Darksaber anymore because like 4 episodes ago we did this really stupid thing, and he gave it to Cara Dune because, or not Cara Dune, to Bo-Katan because we're trying to write out Mando from the Mandalorian because we don't want to pay Pedro Pascal's large salary because he's getting more and more expensive. So we're going to write him out, and I just Kathleen Kennedy the crap all over the Mandalorian. Like that's you just Kathleen Kennedy did it. That's all you did. It's garbage.
Thank you, Carl.
And again, I didn't say. I was like, I told Alan. This is a true story. I told Alan. I was like, hey, I caught up with Mando. I am so excited for the finale. I'll be able to know what the heck you guys are talking about. And that was it. That was it. That's how it ended. That's how the season ended.
Yep.
Episode 8. Even when I got on David, you missed it because you were gone. I was like, hey, so we're ready to talk? I haven't seen it. When does it come out? They're like, no, Corwin, you're an idiot. Episode 8 was it. That was it. That was the end of the season. What? That was the end of the season? Like just Game of Thrones season 8 and me. Like that was better. Like there was
yeah, that was better. That was way better.
There was
things
just so
happened there, yeah.
Plot holes in it. And he's just like the Martina makes a good point. This guy's just floating around in space and no one knows. Oh yeah, because we wrote out Cara Dune. Because we can't have politics. Like Kathleen Kennedy, get out of this movie.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you something, Corwin, because you know weapons, you and tactic usage of weapons.
Sure.
When in the beginning, when they were running with their weapons and they were pointing at nowhere, they were like, like trying to do recon. When you do recon, you go into a room and you don't go face forward with your gun pointing at your side.
Well, are you talking about when they landed on the planet?
Yeah, when they just landed.
Yeah, so they say we're going to send down the ground crew to clear the area, and they land. They jetpack down and land, stand in a circle, and then say it's clear. They just stood, and then the plane lands right there. They didn't clear anything. And they just stood there in a circle. They could have just landed the ship. What they did was pointless. But they're not allowed to take
I was talking in the very beginning
too many steps
running
because they're on the volume.
Yeah, when they were running out of the base or something like that, in the very beginning, when they were all running, and when Mandalorian was in the was the front pointer, it was just literally like pointing nowhere and running just face.
Yeah, it was terrible. When you go into a room, when you're tactically going into a room, the first thing that goes into that room, or when I'm moving down a hallway very quickly, when I'm trying to get somewhere, the first thing that I'm looking at, I'm going to try to turn my camera a little bit. The first thing that I have when I'm looking, my gun is in front of my face. Whether I'm holding a pistol or whether I have a rifle, my gun is in front of my face. And when I have people behind me, and let's say we're all moving down a hallway trying to get somewhere quickly, but we could have enemies in front of us. The guy who's in point, he has the center. He has center. And if that guy in point, he's not in the middle of the hallway. That's the thing. A lot of people always no. He's on one side of the hallway because what I don't want is crossfire. I don't want a dude shooting over my right shoulder. I don't want a dude shooting over my left shoulder. Right? So the guy up on point is going to be either on the right side or the left side, depending if usually it's the left side because you're right-handed, so you have more. And then you have a guy that's behind you a few feet aiming in front of me to the left, if that makes sense. Because if you have it, you have basically like a guy here and a guy right here behind. And I'm aiming at everything from my straight forward to the right, and this guy is aiming my straight forward to the left. So you have the only crossfire you get is in the center, is in that center point, not. Yeah. So when they're walking through and they're doing this thing and they're like, oh, I'm being tactical. That's what they call. I'm tactical. I'm so cool. I have a gun. That's bullcrap. That is
and they don't even put it near to their face, like you said. They don't put it like here. They're like, they're
like, we're just.
And they go into a hallway and they see the whole front of the hallway. They see in front of them and they still do it, even though they know that there's no one there.
I'm gonna just move my gun without moving my head, because unlike Call of Duty, okay, when you are shooting and moving is, especially with a rifle, a pistol. It was kind of crazy. A pistol is a little easier to shoot and move with because it's smaller, right? It's not as accurate. You're not nearly as accurate when you're shooting and moving. But rifles are very heavy. They do, even though they're only a couple pounds, they get you're just holding all that weight out there. They get very heavy in your arms. I mean, just put your arms out and straight in front of you for a while and hold that. Yeah. Now put a gun in it. It gets heavy. But
you also have to brace it on your shoulder, and if you're walking, it's going to be going like this.
Yeah, even with the gun on my shoulder, if I'm moving in an active situation, I've got the gun on my shoulder and I'm holding tight and I'm moving.
You got to do like the squat thing so you can move without shaking your shoulder.
You can't just like run. People who are like, oh, you can, Call of Duty. I'm running around. Boom, I got the guy. Boom, I got the guy. No. Doesn't work like that. When you're moving and shooting, especially with a rifle, even a pistol, with all of them, it's a million times harder than you think. Okay. And then when you got guys moving the gun like this without moving their head, I'm sorry, but that's...
Okay, but what if you had a jetpack?
Then why the heck are you even just jump out from the hallway?
Yeah,
I agree.
I chalk that up to, like you said, the cool factor of like it's a movie thing. They'll do that in all kinds of movies all over the place where they try to make it look cool. Tactical. That was the word you used. Where it's like, it's not realistic. It's not real, but it's
But obviously, you give some leeway to movies, but it's a spectrum, guys. There's a big space between tactical.
It's that much better when they do it well.
There's a big space between tactical and tactarded. Okay,
and that's what it is. And the thing is if you actually see, some of you guys here, if you come up, I'd be more than happy. It's called CQC. I'd be more than happy to teach you how to clear your own house with your gun. And when you know how to clear your house, and Alan's done this with me a few times.
I don't own any guns. The government.
No guns. But what I'm saying is, like, when you go to shoot and you actually are shooting to train and not just going to shoot to plink, you have 10 times more fun training than you do just plink shooting. And it's the same thing with moving and stuff. So when I see movies that are very unrealistic, because John, I'll put an example. John Wick, as unrealistic as John Wick is, the movement that Keanu Reeves does, the shooting, the reloading, the throwing the mags, reloading quickly, contact shooting, moving around, all that stuff, he's trained for years. He's probably the best shot in Hollywood. As Hollywood-esque as that is, that's realistic.
Alec Baldwin.
It's very realistic.
Is it Alec Baldwin's the best shot in Hollywood?
Alec
Baldwin.
So it can look really cool while being realistic. And would you rather have John Wick going through that hallway, or do you want the Mandos? Butterfly.
And that was the point I was trying to make. I know that a lot of movies do this goofy tactical thing, but the thing is that when, like the example of Keanu Reeves, when you at least know what you're doing, when you at least have watched something, like I'm not an expert. I've never used a gun in my life, but I saw that and I was like, that's bold.
Yeah,
you know?
It's much better when you have it something cool and realistic-ish like John Wick.
They don't know
anything
until you're ready to shoot.
Reeves, go to YouTube, watch Keanu Reeves. And this will be after I end because my wife's yelling at me.
Okay.
Go watch Keanu Reeves training. You can just look it up.
It's great.
His stuff, that is realistic. Him plinking, hitting, moving, switching guns, going around corners. It's all realistic, and it looks awesome. So why can't? And they don't need that level of professionalism, but it doesn't take that much to get. It doesn't take that much to get that look of professionalism.
Yeah.
You give me 10 minutes with an actor, I can teach them basic CQC, and it will make them look a lot better than just.
And it does makes the difference. It does make a freaking difference.
And that's the thing. And I guess it is the thing with the Mandalorian, what we're talking about. It's the little things. The overall is okay. Like the overall is all right. It's the little things. It's those little details. It's the rubber shields. It's the stupid short spears. It's the how come suddenly we've got the bad guy floating around in space. Oh yeah, because we wrote Cara Dune out and we don't have a good story. So, guess what? Palpatine's back type thing.
Yeah,
like
I do think that this is
that screws up multi-$100 million shows.
Yeah,
and
100%.
if Disney doesn't keep getting
getting
right when he was getting to the point. You cut out. He said, "If Disney doesn't keep getting," and he stopped.
Oh, and you're mute.
He's muted.
Am I muted?
There now. Okay.
If
Disney doesn't keep getting,
if Disney doesn't keep doesn't get that point, if they don't fix that problem, they're going to continue to lose on $100 million shows. They're going to continue to screw the pooch. They're going to lose. You lost $100 million because you failed to buy a trainer for $3,000 or $100 to go with some of your actors on just how to move through a 30-second scene.
Yeah.
You're straining at gnats and swallowing camels, and you're letting it destroy you.
I'll even argue that this season had a lot of bigger issues too, because I felt like the biggest problem for me with this season was the overall like story structure. It really there was some cool stuff there,
like the stuff
a lot
with
of those
the
little
spies.
things that weren't good, but like
narratively,
honestly, I did not even pick up the idea that was supposed to be hinting at spies or a traitor.
They named the episode "The Spies,"
but they weren't even looking for spies. Nobody talked about spies during that episode.
They say, what's the bad guy's name? Moff Gideon. They say with traces of Beskar in these blast wounds. That means Moff Gideon was rescued by a dun 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 Mandalorian Q theme song for CSI, right? Like it was like, and then the next episode was like the traitors. Like we so who is it? Who is it that's portrayed him? Who's the Mandalorian? And that was the only thing that I found narratively. It was the only thing I found narratively interesting, that you could have a character who's Mandalorian somehow just betray his entire the guy who killed it. It would be like a Jew joining Hitler, you're like, he did the genocide on you and now you're on his team. So it was interesting. I was like, oh, who's that going to be? Turns out it wasn't. It was just the Beskar troopers. And they don't even address it. Oh, no, there wasn't a traitor. So that don't even tell you.
I'll watch on the show, guys. I got to bounce.
Okay, see ya.
But that's exactly the part where it becomes a problem for me, where it's like, they just don't seem to know what they're trying to tell with this story, or that they didn't know. I don't know. It was just all over the place, because you set up a couple of ideas like this that might get some of us wondering. I didn't even pick up on it, and I didn't, because they also don't like focus in on it on the show that, oh, maybe we're worried about a traitor Mandalorian. They just like, so there's some Beskar there, and I was like, but that doesn't, like, to me it was so nonsensical that it was one of the Mandalorians. I didn't even like pick up on that idea. I was also stuck on.
But they said it. It didn't just say. They said Beskar. Yeah. That means. He even said, like, they do the double take. That what does that mean? It means that Moff Gideon was rescued by a Mandalorian.
See,
that's how the episode ended. He said that. That's
a Mandalorian. Like they were going to kill him. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, it was nonsensical, and because again, I was just hung up on the like nonsensicalness of like he's being transported to trial and he never made it, but like most people don't know, like why is this a mystery about did he make it or not?
I know, like, it's so dumb.
Either made it or didn't. And
if you're sending someone to trial and he never shows up, you kind of you start worrying.
The bigger question becomes like, if he didn't make it to trial, who has not been saying, "Hey, we were supposed to have this trial, and our the suspect or whatever you want to call it never showed up."
Yeah, it's
and now we have a big thing going on. Like, who is not telling getting it out there that, hey, we need to go hunting this guy down? Yeah. There's that's a problem with the New Republic. But again, that was more of a mystery that wasn't what they were trying to get at.
It's just absolutely moronic. It's dumb.
I agree. And the mental deficient Mandalorian.
Also,
this episode I thought was a fine episode. I didn't have any problems with the episode itself. There were a couple silly
I'll get into it.
Things. I didn't like Grogu jumping around from the Praetorian guards. I didn't like the stupid mouse droids.
For 20 minutes.
Yeah, there were some silly things.
And they're just like,
episode.
What do we do now? Yeah. Like, just cut down the lights.
Yeah, but the episode itself, I don't think was terrible, but it was an awful season finale.
The season was just nonsensical. The season itself was nonsensical.
Let me explain to you why you're also wrong about that. It was a terrible episode, okay? Remember, the penultimate episode ends, and we complained about it last week. We said, why didn't they just kill Din Djarin? And we said, oh, well, the show apparently has a reason for it, because Moff Gideon says, take the Mandalorian to the debriefing room so we can tell him important information. So apparently there's a reason that he's keeping him alive. What was the reason? Oh, the showrunners didn't have a reason. They just wanted him to be able to escape.
Yep.
So, and he's with 2 guards, and he takes them out easily, and it's...
It was cool seeing Mando doing some wrecking shop, that, and when he was wrecking shop against the Praetorian guards, even if he maybe shouldn't have been able to take on the Praetorian guards. It was cool seeing him wrecking shop.
I was gonna say, why do freaking what are they called? Stormtroopers use those or whatever guards, Imperial guards. Why do they use that armor? It's so useless. It's so useless. One guy even gets choked through the armor. He gets choked through the armor. And this is when I say that I have the problem. Like I agree with Corwin said, the problem is in the details. These kind of details, like doing karate on guys that have armors, is brain dead.
I will say that is consistently a problem through all of it, including the originals, though. So you're right. It is a problem. It has always been a problem, and it's one of those things where it's like there are bigger problems going on to make it so that this bothers us more in this one than it does in the originals, because the originals had cool stuff, and it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of silly. This is it has some cool stuff and a lot of nonsense.
But anyway, it's not that bad. It's more like Obi-Wan Kenobi bad.
Yeah,
the Kenobi show.
So at the end of the episode, they have all of the Mandalorians captured in between 2 doors, and they could have just killed them all, but they just don't chase after them. I guess they let them escape through the back door, and then the one guy dies by himself and ends up killing all of the stormtroopers, except then he dies to the Praetorian guards. Whatever. We're talking about how stupid that is. Moff Gideon just decides to leave. I thought that he was going with Mandalorian.
That was really weird.
I thought he was going with him because apparently there was debriefing to take place. That didn't happen. So it shows Moff Gideon in his little observation room where he's got a screen with a map of his entire base, and apparently it only tracks 2 people though, because he doesn't know where the other Mandalorians are, but he's got 2 little dots for Din Djarin and for Grogu, and he says, I know exactly where Din Djarin and Grogu are. I'm going to go kill them. And then someone says, hey, do you want us to take care of that for you? And he says, no, and he's already in his suit. He says, no, I'm leaving right now to go kill them. And so he knows exactly where they are, and he leaves his observation room to go fight Din Djarin. And then 20 minutes pass, and the episode takes place. Din Djarin destroys all of his clones and then arrives at the observation room where he gets trapped, and then goes into the next door, and that's where Moff Gideon shows up to fight him. Which would be stupid in and of itself, that he just didn't show up till earlier, and that's compounded stupidity when Moff Gideon says, how could you destroyed all of my clones? That was a mean thing you did. You let him.
Yep.
You knew where he was and decided to go in the opposite direction, abandon your strong point, let him kill your clones, and then fight him by yourself. It's idiotic.
And I wanted to ask Jared about this, because you're the
Jared or bearded Jared?
No, the bearded bearded Jared. You're the Star Wars guy. Well, also Jared, if he knows this, you can implant the Force into clones.
It's midichlorians. If you get the bloodstream, you could do the midichlorian booster shot.
So I haven't read much of the EU or anything like that, so I don't know if they play.
I've researched. I am the expert. I am the science when it comes to midichlorians. So how it works? First, you just give us 2 weeks to slow the spread. Okay, you get your midichlorian vaccination. It'll be the only one, we promise, except for you have to get 2 of them, and then that'll be it. But then for every 3 months after that, you need to get a midichlorian booster, and it'll protect you against the Force. Sometimes you might still get midichlorians in your bloodstream, but it's not our fault. It just won't be as bad. It'll definitely immunize your body against midichlorians.
Does that answer your question, Mexa?
Yes.
No, but again, they're playing around with it. The theories has been since the beginning, since season 1 when they took Grogu, that they were taking
Also,
midichlorians out of his bloodstream.
Also, you can't take off your mask.
Alan was super excited about that one.
Oh, it's right there.
Unless
I can't believe I didn't see it till just then.
Yeah.
He never took off his mask, though.
You might have to make a sketch on that, bro.
The voice actor Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, my issues with, like I said,
it's
my
weird.
issues.
I guess if you decided that the midichlorians are the way that you get to the Force, that you could transplant them, maybe. I don't know.
And that's fine. Okay, say that. I don't mind. It's canon. I know the prequels. You know, that was some of the most criticized points of the prequels.
Yep.
But
was the midichlorian.
my problem is not with that. My problem is with the little details. Like, for example, the whole scene with the droid opening doors. I almost lost my entire my brain there. I was like, what the hell is this? First of all, they keep giving emotions to droids, which is stupid out of all of himself. It's like, oh, I'm scared of how high I am of this canon or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. He
That's
feels
something
afraid.
that's always been in Star Wars, though.
Yeah,
but
consistent.
Always been dumb.
It can still be dumb, even if it's consistent.
True.
Yeah.
But that's why I wouldn't be bothered by it. But I can get why it's kind of dumb. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We pass along that. But then he controls the whole ship or base with one door. You know, with one. That's also a Star Wars thing. I know. But this was my point.
But Moff Gideon had the complete element of surprise. He had a surprise army. He had a surprise ships. He had armada bombers. He literally had everything he asked for, and he could have led the Mandalorians into a trap. He didn't even need an army if he knew they were coming. He could have just used bombs. Just put a bomb into the forge. It shows them lighting the forge at the end of the episode, and it's not part of Moff Gideon's base.
Yeah.
Just put a bomb in the forge. They go to the forge, and then they blow up. Guess what? You don't even need a timer on the bomb. When they turn on the forge, the bomb goes off.
Yeah.
You've killed all the Mandalorians.
That's what Maxi, you were saying?
Oh yeah. When the rat robots are messing with R2D2, point
with
2.
Red R2.
Yeah, red R2, and why did and the whole
they brought more robots.
Yeah.
So the robot couldn't do anything, so it left and brought more things that couldn't do anything instead of
just crashing,
raising alarm,
crashing on him. Like, what are you going to do? He's a metal robot crashing on him. And
shout out to Mark Clark. Thank you so much to $1.99 for the Mando is the Bimbalorian now. Yes,
but
definitely.
What really got me angry about that scene is that I was supposed to create tension because he was like, "Open the door, Archie! Open the door!" And he's like, "I'm gonna use my taser to mess with these rats." Why even?
Also,
I'll even say the way that they set that up, if you buy into all of the way that they have it set up, it wasn't blocked very well because he was waiting. He was usually waiting until he'd taken down the guards in that area before he said, "Okay, open the next doors and I'll get the next one."
Yeah, that's a good
point. He was in the middle of fighting those ones on that side.
Open it now! Open it now!
Why do you want that one open now?
They tried to make it urgent. They were trying to give it urgency, but it didn't make sense because you didn't want it to be open until you were done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I kept expecting them to accidentally open 3 doors, and he's like, "No, close it," you know, something like that. But
that would have made way more sense, David.
I will say, I will say though too, I definitely see there's either going to be an action figure or at the very least a new character in the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes that David and I play, of Mandalorian with the shield and the little like buzzer baton thing. I'm guessing that now. That's
and
definitely
the
going to be a thing.
IG-11 with Grogu in it. That's
Oh
going to be
yeah,
a character,
IG-11.
too.
Yeah.
And that was another stupid thing too. Like the whole IG-11 plot line throughout the season. It's like, oh, we need him to get to Mandalore. Oh, never mind. We'll just forget about it. But we're going to desecrate his statue. Oh, now he's upgraded into this bio suit that he can wear, and like, oh, that's actually kind of a smart idea. I don't hate that.
Yeah, okay.
But then he gets destroyed, and then like, oh, well, what's about the suit? And then they fix him later because of the head that was hanging in the cantina.
Because of the other head, and they actually do fix IG-11, even though it still makes no sense that somehow this is IG-11 when some other droid head and memory unit. That makes no sense.
It's so stupid. Like I
thought.
But he's the sheriff. He's the sheriff now.
He's the sheriff now. I thought for a split second that the gift that he got him was going to be fixing the statue with the other head, because it's like, hey, at the very least, it still looks like IG-11, and the statue's fixed, so you have your statue back. Oh no, it's they actually are deciding this is IG-11. What I really hope, and it is stupid of me to hope this. There's no reason for me to hope this, but that I hope that in the next season, as they interact with IG-11, they establish the fact that this IG-11 has no actual memories of IG-11, is not actually IG-11. It's just some other IG unit that they're calling IG-11 and making it look and act like him, but it's not actually him because it doesn't have any of his memories, because it shouldn't and can't have any of his memories.
Exactly.
It makes no sense for it to have any of his memories. But he will. He'll be like, I remember that time that I went and I blew myself up because I didn't want to be captured.
Yeah.
But it was a good
whole
stupid
plot
of me
line
to
was dumb.
Yeah,
it was a good
it
episode.
was all just nostalgia. They were just like, oh, people liked Taika Waititi and they liked his episode. I'm like, yes, I did. I liked Taika Waititi in that. I liked his episode. But bringing it back is not making any sense.
Right.
Stop it.
And like the whole thing, I was mad when they desecrated the statue, but then I was I thought that was a good idea in the end point to make Grogu a mechanized suit. I'm like, okay,
sure.
That's stupid. I hate it, but it kind of works. And then they just reverted it again. It was like, what was all that for?
For action figures, so you can have an IG-12 action figure and a new IG-11 action figure, and still have Grogu, and still.
It's because they didn't go with the teenage Grogu, so they have to find some way to sell more merch.
But they did.
My biggest answer to that is no.
Really, what it was is so that they could give a voice to Baby Grogu, because they're like, he needs to say something.
And he was using it during the fight scenes. He was you're taking time to not rescue Din by saying no.
He used the Force to press that button sometimes.
I don't give a crap.
Yo, and his Force powers are so inconsistent. And that's something else that I wanted to say. In a span of 10 seconds, because I counted them. I saw that that little timer in the bottom of the screen, and he falls down. A metal pipe falls into him, and he's not able to pick it up. A metal pipe, like it's covered. It's not that heavy.
Oh yeah.
A metal pipe, and
that was after he left the suit.
They tried to make like a moment like this. Like
he's
when
a
building when a building is under fire and a log falls into you or a beam falls into you, and you're like, oh, I'm trapped, I cannot move, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 1 second later, he's like trying to pick it up with the Force, and he can't. 1 second later, he picks up a trooper, which is probably 3 times heavier than the tube. And then he removes the tube. And so what was that? Like, were you losing your power for a second? And then you became stronger?
The whole protecting from the fire thing was also another thing that I'm like, okay, I get we established in season 1 that he can block fire with the Force. My brother actually pointed out King and Jarrus does that in Rebels, where he kind of like blocks an explosion sort of thing from killing other people.
Yeah, but what about the base collapsing?
Where he's at, he should be being hit with like debris and like.
And it shows Moff Gideon like be incinerated, like completely disintegrated, like nothing left of him. Even if you're blocking the fire, it's still going to be hot. And also, it was a spaceship, and things would have started collapsing.
Yes. To me, it was more the things should have been collapsing. If it's diving into this hole or whatever, that you're right next to the hole, you're gonna get hit with debris and pieces of this ship. Like, yeah, I was okay with the blocking fire. I'm like, okay, it's cool. It's an upgrade of his powers from what you see in season 1 and all. But you could have done something a little differently to still show that it's like before I've talked about with The Last Jedi, where Leia showing Force powers. Have her show Force powers, but have her floating through space after being blown out into space is not the way to do that, because that makes no sense. It's bizarre and off-putting. Have her block something. Have her put up a shield. Have her like holding in the air and atmosphere while people escape. Don't have her blown out into space, wake up 5 minutes later, and then Mary Poppins her way back into the ship. You can do something cool if you just think it through a little bit more.
Yeah. Yes. I actually thought the Mary Poppins moment, it looked silly, but it made sense. She was just force pulling on the ship.
The power itself made sense, but it was
looked silly.
There's so many.
The idea of she's been blown out into space, so she now no longer has oxygen for this somewhat extended period of time before she wakes up and then pulls herself back to the ship is the problem. It wasn't the pulling herself back to the ship. It did look goofy.
Exactly.
The ability to pull herself back to the ship makes sense. But the setup to get her into that position makes so little sense to be like how she would have survived and gotten to that point. Do something else to get her into a position to use power like that,
I'm also just I'm just baffled by the fact that Moff Gideon just had surprise, could have completely wiped out all these people, had tons of resources, and yet every single step of his plan failed. He had bombers go and attack the fleet. That led to nothing because 90% of the fleet just went down to the surface and no one noticed. And all of the ships versus the one flagship, and they still didn't win that fight because he has time to take it down and crash it into the base. Like, I don't understand how any of this plan could have worked if this is how they show them struggling, but they don't make any changes to overcome the surprises, and yet they and then they just beat the surprise anyway. It happened last episode constantly. Oh, we can't possibly beat him, and then they beat him. Oh, there's too many to fight, so we got to leave. And then one Mandalorian beats all of them, and then they get surprised with the ships, and then they beat that, and then they get surprised with and it's so stupid. And the worst part of this episode, which I forgot until now because I blocked it from my memory. Okay, so in the last episode, the guy leaves to go contact the fleet, to go get help. I thought he was flying back to their ship so that he could go contact. No, the dude leaves the planet with a jetpack, which is beyond stupid. If the jetpacks are that powerful, okay, the jetpack having the power to leave a planet's surface is insane in and of itself. And that's not even going into the fact that Beskar is magic now because it has power for freaking re-entry. You have to the heat shields that spaceships have to have in order to exit and enter and re-enter atmospheres. It's insane. And you can just do it with a Beskar suit that has cracks. It's not like a full astronaut suit. These helmets come on and off. They're not sealed. They're not vacuum. They've got a little helmet. And they've got two. They've got two pauldrons and then leather. And then a little. They've got a little bit of Beskar right here and a little bit of on their legs, and that's enough to turn you into a spaceship.
Not only that, but in a previous episode, we established that
we talked about how their fuel doesn't last very long. We didn't have enough fuel to reach the dragon, and yet this one Mandalorian has enough fuel to exit the atmosphere, jump on a ship, fly it down, and
Let's
bail
to leave the ship.
you, and he still has left over to fly around in the fight.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. Not to mention the amount of gasoline or amount of like fuel you're gonna use to project yourself out, right? It's got to be
It's
a lot
astronomical.
On,
On
the you know spaceships have to use so much fuel to exit the obviously Star Wars, right? It's in the future or the past, whatever. They have different technologies, but if you're looking at our technology, they literally have to duct tape extra rockets onto a rocket to get it out of the atmosphere, and then they dump them. They have to use so much fuel. They discard half of the rocket ship.
Yeah, I was going to say
that
like
was
80%
just full of fuel
is left behind.
Yeah.
You've seen the pictures. It takes off and it goes. They drop chunks.
Those two red things off the side, and then like they just launch the other. Yeah, there's a ton of it that is extra. Yeah, I don't know. I can get all over a lot of that. Again, this is
why didn't they just fly back? Why didn't they just fly back to Bo-Katan's ship and then fly that out of the atmosphere?
There's a lot of this that I can totally like swallow and be fine with, because guess what? It's fantasy. It's whatever. It is sci-fi fantasy and it's fun. If you have a sensical story that like fits around this, if you take a little bit of time to within that like insanity, say, well, here's the limitations, and actually follow those limitations a bit more. Oh goodness, it's like buy in with those things. I don't know. Mark though was saying here that we need to get me something nice because me being this negative is weird. The problem is I think I'm being affected by emotional allomancy, so I need to put on my new one of my newest things that I just got from Brandon Sanderson.
Nice.
Looks
I'm
cool.
feeling much more under
Looks
control
cool.
for myself.
Awesome
nice.
beanie.
You got your box.
So astronomically.
Well, this is actually one that I got separately because it was on their store, but it was sold out for a long time. And just at the very end there, I saw that they had restocked it just at the same time that I happened. I don't know if we're done with the Mandalorian or not, but
yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
I got myself.
Nice.
Ooh,
Oh, it looks
my
so
tracks.
good. Get it closer to the camera. It looks so sexy.
Just
I
look at this
regret
thing.
only getting the audiobooks because
Oh.
I saw how much those cost now, and I'm like, oh man, I really should have done the bundle.
Yeah.
I wish that I had gotten it on the thing as well, but like
Nice.
look at some of these, like this artwork and some of this
the
is
two-tone
just
color pictures that they've done in
gorgeous.
there is amazing.
Yeah, there's another one earlier on actually. Hang on, right here that is also just
Oof,
gorgeous.
yeah,
like,
that-
and this one's a glossy one.
Looks so
And
good.
it came with
Full color.
a great little bookmark of that artwork as well.
Nice.
It's a
which
good
is
book
good.
too. It's so good.
Like, this is just such a glorious. I am so excited to read this. I've been holding off because I got myself caught up while I was waiting for this to come in, reading the Ender Saga and reading the Shadow Saga. So I'm going to be listening to that. But
well, we want to do it. You got to catch
this
up
is super
fast.
exciting and sort of spoilery too.
Yeah,
if
don't
you
look
pay
through the
attention to what's going
pictures.
on in there.
Don't look through the pictures, Jared. What are you doing?
I looked at that and I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. That guy there looks a little familiar.
Yeah,
and
just
some
a
of the
little bit.
things that he's doing look a little familiar. But the other fun thing that I got, that this was one of the other boxes, I got some little Doombot Doom Slug things.
Mold? Is that
And
a
I got
chocolate
myself-
mold?
Yeah, so it's for chocolate or ice or whatever, like Jello, whatever you want to do. Like you can
That's
make
so
some molds
cool.
of those, which are kind of fun. And then this guy is actually also really cool. It's the M-Bot
That's
ship
M-Bot.
from the
That's
Cytonic from
That's
those,
cool.
and it's a really, really nice. Like I actually decided just for the fun of it, I saw there were screws down here and I took it apart, and there's actually a seat in there. There's not like a character that sits in it, but like there's an actual, like they went to detail with this to make it really nice. So
That looks like
got
good
myself some
quality.
really solid stuff, and it's a hefty little
Is it
thing.
made of
So
metal?
yeah,
Is it
like
metal or plastic?
it's metal.
Wow.
I don't know if you can hear that or not, but yeah,
That's
just a
cool.
cool looking thing here. So, yep, I'm quite excited about my delayed year of Sanderson that I'm getting. Eventually, my wife's not here, so I can say I say a little bit more about that.
Okay, before we move
But then
on,
I got this off of the off
Nice.
of the story anyway because it was pretty exciting. I was like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Also to the point that like Brandon Sanderson has basically made it so that it's canon in the Mistborn world that you literally wear a tinfoil hat or aluminum foil, but tinfoil hat
Yeah.
for everything. It's awesome in order to avoid mind control. Literally, I mean
That's
not
so
literally
awesome.
mind
That's so
control,
good.
but literally mind control. Oh,
Yeah. We've got bad takes. I guess we
okay,
could
hold
go
on,
to.
hold on.
Jared,
Hold
is
on.
there something you want to
Before
say?
we move on, I thought it was interesting because I watched. What was funny is so you guys know how like earlier this year you watched Andor and
Yeah.
you were talking about it on the show. Well, I didn't get to watch any of that with you guys, and it's funny because I watched the Mandalorian season. And this one was definitely better, I think, because it was a little bit more action filled, and it was kind of fun to see him take over Mandalore
Right.
and all that. So I was kind of excited about that. There were definitely these sorts of twerks that were weird. But what's funny is that I literally right after, like with my wife, we just watched an episode of Andor, and my wife's like, "This is so much better." And I'm like, yeah, because they actually have a story that makes sense.
Andor was so good. The season finale was kind of lackluster.
I hated the
everything
finale,
else-
but I loved the
everything
rest of the
else
show.
about the entire show was fantastic.
Yeah, and it is, and it really is because they have this story that actually made sense from
actually
episode
have a
1
story.
all the way to the other ones.
It's
like,
internally consistent.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's
they-
definitely what Mandalorian's been missing this season. The story is
Especially this season.
Yeah.
The first two seasons did not have anywhere near this level of problem, but this season really struggled with the overall story and the way that it all meshed together and how they like married the ideas of what the overall story was, and which made it just that much easier to criticize all these odd, weird quirks of like the dumb robot stuff going on. I don't know. I still can't believe that they didn't use the BD droid that he played around with in season 2 when he's putting together the ship, because that's like great synergy with the game that's coming out later this month, and it's such a cute and fun droid that they put it in there, and they could have used it, and it made so much sense for that. Oh goodness, it was so cool.
And now instead we got R2 Light and also the other droid again for some reason. So
yeah.
Before we move on, the last thing I wanted to say about the episode, at the ending, the very, very, very ending, when they are chillaxing in their cabin, like this guy, the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal voice actor, should get like registered, I don't know, like offender or something. She should be on a registry because he's living with a kid by himself.
He's his dad, he adopted him. He's good, yeah.
Grogu is messing with a frog for no reason. He's literally messing with the frog. The frog is like, dude, what is going on?
It's not Grogu anymore, guys. It's
Din
Grogu.
Oh, you gotta
that was
be
a little odd that they decided that was the way they're going with the naming on that. I thought I know there are cultures that do it that way, but Bo-Katan
I've looked it up.
Priest is their family name.
It's completely lore breaking. It makes no sense.
Yep, it is not consistent with anything that they've done with the Mandalorians at all. It's weird.
And the way they ended the episode felt like a freaking Looney Tunes episode. With they close. What was that?
That's all, folks.
What's that?
Grogu was about to but at the same time, I had fun with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
That by far is nowhere near anything that I feel any need to criticize. Like the other stuff, there's a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah, no, but I mean the whole
fine.
The whole
you guys know the kid?
I want to look at it as a whole. The finale, the whole scene was just moronic, and that little thing that they did at the very, very, very end was like the cherry on top of the pie. It was so exquisite. I was just laughing, and like Corwin said, I was screaming, "Is that it?" to the screen. I was literally screaming to the screen, "Is that it?"
So if the rest of it had been good, it would have been a lot better, easier to swallow. Yeah, absolutely.
So the dead guy's kid, who we thought was a foundling, but it wasn't because he was the guy's kid, and he wasn't concerned about it the entire time. It's Jimmy Kimmel's nephew.
Yeah, I thought I'd learned something. I heard something about that. Yeah.
But it explains a lot. I was like, why did they cast a kid who clearly can't act? Oh, nepotism. Got it. Star Wars is all about that now. So
it's always been.
Yeah.
Prince Jealous Howard.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys want to say, look? Hey, this is going to be a weekly thing. Let's see how good the Mario movie's doing. It's doing really good. It's doing really good.
It's going
a billion yet? Not quite.
No, not quite. It's almost at 900,000. So
it's gonna make it.
It's definitely gonna make it. Like
has it opened in Japan yet? I don't. Nope. I think it's next week for Japan. Right?
No. Yeah. It's gonna
still hasn't opened in Japan. Oh yeah.
It opens the end of next week. It opens Friday in Japan.
So here's a question. What is the sorts of like records that Japan can put in? Because yes. We'll put in a large amount of money for it's like it's not going to be a small amount of money, but there's still only so much that it ever really does.
Okay, what's another famous movie that would have been popular in Japan?
Godzilla.
Sonic.
Yeah, I was going to say Godzilla maybe.
No,
Sonic would be Sonic might be a better comparison.
Well, because Godzilla, they find Godzilla offensive.
You got to look at exchange rates and currencies, right? Like what their money is going to change differently, right? Like the dollar.
It might, but the way it's reported here. So, however it's reported here for Japan, it wasn't even Sonic. Wasn't
no, but that's the second release.
Oh, that's Sonic 2. Do Sonic 1. That's weird that it wasn't released in. You're right. That was a re-release.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why it says 0. That's weird.
But it does have a total there at the end.
Yeah, it does have a total.
That's
1 million. They don't track the opening weekend or whatever.
1 million. Yeah,
I don't know.
Another million. No. Check the original release for that second for Sonic 2. Since you were looking at the re-release of it, or maybe no, that was
that was the main.
So how about check Godzilla or Godzilla versus Kong or one of those two? Probably Godzilla because the Godzilla Kong the first was released in the middle. Yeah.
But for example, Mexico did like 86 million gross.
The one in 2014, yeah.
To be honest, is really disappointing.
The second one down. Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, that movie really did money. That movie did fine.
International, Japan.
Oh, see, they have the numbers.
6 million, yeah. So they could do a solid 6 million. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a solid 6 million.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is going to be
Nah, it's gonna make like 20 minimum, like 20 million.
I mean.
Yeah, because
I wonder what the record is in Japan. I don't know if you could pull that one up to see like what's the highest box office earner in Japan, and how much that is.
I would believe that Japan has way more money and people willing to watch the Mario movie than Mexico. Mexico made 86 million. Yeah. That's a lot, and everyone in Mexico saw that
population.
Demon Slayer. We should have looked up Demon Slayer.
But anime movies, I mean, they do fine in Japan, but
that's in yen. Okay, I was like, Demon Slayer made 40 billion yen.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
what's that? Like $4?
Yeah, I think that's like 1,000 yen or something. What is the
$1,000? Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yen.
1,000 yen for $4.
How many zeros are in billion? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
9?
Yeah.
10? No, 9.
Yeah, 1,000, then million, then billion.
That's a million.
Oh.
Billion.
We can't see the screen, by the way.
I know. This is boring. $2. 40 billion yen. That's 300 million.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's solid. That's 300 million.
I did it right. 400 billion. There's 1, 2, 3. See, we got that's 100, then 1,000, then a million. 40.
Type. Type
40
40
billion.
billion yen to US dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have typed it. That would have been smarter.
But at least you know that you have the math correctly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they have money. They have money in.
Yep. Well,
That was
and, yeah,
that was a recent release. That was Demon Slayer, and it was hand drawn animation.
But I would argue that Demon Slayer is way bigger right now than Mario in Japan.
But
right
Mario
now.
originated in Japan.
Spirited Away made 30 billion yen.
Because there's no no new game, for example. There's no new game. And
so they'll make a solid amount. That's the biggest thing. It's just as a comparison, like knowing that it's going to be a popular movie in Japan. You know, it
has to be.
It's going to make as much as Japan will ever make. You know, not. It may.
And
not
I think
be the
there's a
highest, but
reason.
it'll be up in there,
I think there's a reason why they waited so long to release it there, and they want to see the isolated amount of money they can do there, because Miyamoto, whatever the name is, this guy probably wants to hit the Japanese market more than the American one.
Yeah. I'm really surprised it took this long to release in Japan.
It's kind of crazy.
I will bet that they're waiting for like a holiday or something like that. They're waiting for some reason, or they're waiting for the box office internationally to just to not be this statistically important. So then they can just measure the whole the entirety of the gross income they can get from Japan.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's do some bad takes, everybody.
Let's do it.
Screen rants. Bad takes. This isn't a bad take. I just wanted to point out that everyone else is asking the same question.
Yep, that was the discussion online.
What was the point of everything, guys? What was the point of? I don't get it. I get it. Okay.
I guess I was detached from the conversation online for that, but yeah.
That's all anyone was talking about the Mandalorian.
It is. I just remembered that it is a bad take though, because it's really funny. This article's hilarious. They're like, "Oh, what were the spies?" Okay, because there weren't any spies in the episode that was called "The Spies," and I'm confused. Why weren't there any spies? And so here we go.
There was one spy. It was the
okay.
The Moff Gideon.
But if you take a closer look,
whatever her name is, I don't remember.
If you take a closer look, all the titles had double meanings. That change how you examine the episode. If each episode title secretly refers to two different plot points, then Spies suddenly has a double meaning that makes its intent clear. Okay, let's walk through the logic, starting with first episode, the apostate. An apostate is someone who renounces or rejects faith, and it just means rejects.
From
really. Like renounces, like a formerly religious person going apostate, right? So from the armorer's perspective, that describes Din Djarin, who took off his helmet in season 2, but the label could also be applied to Bo-Katan. No, that's not what apostate means.
It could also be more accurately, it could refer to Grogu, who left his Jedi training.
Okay, sure, but she was rejected by the Children of the Watch. She was that's the key. She was never a member. That's not what apostate means.
The way this is described, you're absolutely right. It's doing it wrong. But
like heathen would be the better word there, or Gentile.
Right.
But apostate means you were part of something and then you left.
The difference being she used to be a part of Death Watch, from which Children of the Watch came. So, like, she did leave Death Watch. So,
okay.
But it's not what they say. It's not what they're saying here. You're right.
The Mines of Mandalore refers to the literal mines of Mandalore, but also a mine as in a hidden explosive, like the trap that Mando falls into that Grogu must rescue him from. The convert was contentious because it deviated from Din Djarin and Bo-Katan's storyline to follow Dr. Perishing and Who Gives a Crap and Coruscant. But the title actually unites both storylines. We see Pershing convert to the New Republic, but we also see Bo-Katan come into her own as a temporary member of the Watch.
I'll give it that one at least. I don't know.
I believe it's actually referring to Bo-Katan and has nothing to do with the other storyline at all.
Most of the episode,
He's not
yeah, is all about
converted to
him
the New
coming up.
Republic. He was already part of it from the beginning. Okay, the Foundling gives us a glimpse of Grogu's past, and Kelleran Beck. Okay, sure. But Bo-Katan is also a Foundling.
I think that they should have at least been referring to the other kid Foundling that was turned out not to be a Foundling, but they still called him a Foundling even though he wasn't a Foundling.
This is the worst one. Guns for hire is another term for mercenaries. I mean, okay, and it's the same term, but sure. Like the ones led by Axe Wolves. But Din Djarin and Bo-Katan are hired essentially for their guns. Yeah, because they're hired guns! That's what they are! So they're just as much so they're just as much mercenaries as the Mandalorians they're trying to recruit.
That's your whole point.
What?
Yep.
That brings us to the spies. Most confounding title, as there's no clear reference to any group of characters, let alone two. But the council is certainly sneaky. And if you want to get biblical, the 12 spies were Israelite chieftains from the 12 tribes sent to scout the promised land by Moses. Much as Bo-Katan is reuniting the Mandalorian sects and scouting Mandalore with Din Djarin and friends, we're talking spy in a sense of careful observation, not the sneaky espionage that first comes to mind. And if you think that's a stretch, which we do, remember that the Mandalorian is no stranger to biblical references, with its villains carrying the name of a great, albeit heroic, military leader.
Gideon, yeah.
Oh, because Gideon
Like,
obviously refers to the Gideon from the Bible and not just the name Gideon.
Yeah.
Well, which the name Gideon comes from the biblical name.
Finally, there's the return, which is obvious, the much anticipated return to Mandalore, but also Din's return to Navarro. He's been back and forth all season.
Yep.
Where he's happy to rest on his
nonsensical,
porch and his now adopted son.
They got for one episode a tract of land for all the Mandalorians on Navarro so that they could then use that as a staging ground to go. It was weird.
Yeah.
This is what you would
I have
call.
my tin hat on. I am immune to this emotional manipulation.
I'm told from the youths that this is what's referred to as jumping through friggin' hoops.
Yeah.
So that's a bad take, but we know we're getting a new Star Wars movie, and the simps are already abound upon the internet because.
Lovely.
Oh shoot! No! Don't look. Shoot! I ruined the surprise. Frick! I was supposed to do this one first.
Order.
Returning to the sequel trilogy can rectify Star Wars mistreatment of Finn, which I actually kind of agree with.
Yeah.
Like, Finn was the most interesting character in the first movie, and he wasn't used at all in the other two, and it was horrible in the last one. But I really like the idea of a defect, like a defector. That was cool, and it wasn't used at all. Does it want to see him in another movie? Not really. But I agree with the sentiment that he was misused. So it's a mediocre take, and then I already ruined the surprise. But the bad take is that
you got to be kidding me!
Star Wars movie can redeem an overlooked heroine.
I'm so surprised.
Which was because we definitely want to see more Star Wars movies with Rose.
Yay, more Rose. Yay, she was my favorite character of all. I love her more than I love Luke Skywalker.
I thought she was perfect in The Rise of Skywalker because she wasn't in it. So
I will even go as far as to say I would love for them to come up with an actual story where she actually has something to do that actually Because I want a good
No.
character that has something to do. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, but
I
just
want a good character.
That's-
and
yeah,
she's
that's
never
great.
Been given a good. She's never been given a good storyline.
Just as long as you hire someone that can act too, that would be great.
Yeah, that was I was
Fine.
going to that point.
Yeah,
I don't think it was any fault of hers.
I don't think it was her
It was the
acting. I don't
story.
think. Yeah,
She was a little bit flat
it was the
faced.
story.
I think it was a
Come on,
little bit. I think it was a little bit of both, maybe. So that's a bad take. Moving on.
Was she better actor than Ray?
Yes.
She didn't
No,
have a-
Ray was better.
As good a part as Ray.
The Ray's problem is not acting. I think she's a fine actress. It's the writing.
Yeah.
And I still think that's more of the problem for
True.
for Rose. But,
Anyway, here we go, boys. Movie reviews. The Super Mario Bros. Movie has all the charm of an unplugged Game Boy.
What?
I heard this.
First
And
comment though.
see, I heard this and I was giving. I mean, obviously Game Boy use batteries, but they are probably
It's
talking
because-
about the Game Boy Advance, which did use the charger, but it's not the same, and it's kind of
But
ridiculous that they don't know that.
you're supposed to play it unplugged. You plug it in to charge it.
I mean, I used to play the plug because I'm a lazy F and I love playing. So whenever that thing was on charge, I was just saying, F it. I don't mind if the battery gets damaged. I just want to play.
The Game Boy is unplugged by default, you clowns.
Yeah, but like I said, the Game Boy
I love
Advance,
the response to that. Boomers.
you could play the Game Boy Advance
Yeah,
plug,
right.
and people
They're,
did
they're,
plug.
they're just getting roasted, though. Have you heard of batteries?
Yep.
I just love the first reaction to that was the those must be
Shiitake mushrooms? Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
right, Jock Nerdy's a great guy. That's funny, though. It's so
Yeah,
so
but
out
like
of
I said,
touch.
they are probably referring to the Game Boy Advance. Which
Don't
is
give
not
them the benefit.
same.
Don't
which
give
is-
them the
yeah,
benefit of the doubt.
I know, which is not the same. But
Even with that, it's still
Even with that, you can still play it unplugged.
yeah. But when I first heard it, I was like, okay, I played it
Yeah.
plugged.
And even
so
in the situation
I was
where you're
not that
talking about
angry.
something
I
that
didn't
could be
understand
played
it.
plugged in, the unplugged version of it is kind of like more. I don't know. It's like saying
the unplugged version was the reason.
Switch or whatever. You're like, yeah, because you can. I don't know. To call that less charm than a plugged-in version, yeah, because it's more fun to be tied down to a.
The
cord
Super
and
Mario
then
Brothers
you go,
movie has all the charm of an unplugged acoustic guitar. Right.
See, there you go.
There you go.
That made more sense.
Yes.
Okay. Talking, and we mentioned this earlier where we talked about the naming conventions, but Dave Filoni attempts to justify contradicting Star Wars canon. He says, quote, "Forget just the special nature of telling a good story." And,
Can we scroll down? That toenail picture
Yeah.
is freaking me out.
oh no, it stays there.
Oh no! Oh no!
It stays there. Okay. Can we?
Oh no, it's gonna resize
Still
for
there.
that too.
Come on, I love you. I love you bounding into comics, but screen your ads for crying out loud.
I haven't seen this article. What does he say?
Okay, he says it doesn't matter.
What specific lore is he talking about contradicting? Because
He's constantly contradicting lore, dude.
so did George Lucas.
Yeah.
But we know George Lucas is not the best writer.
Yeah. What does he say?
He says lots of things. But Ahsoka's eyes are blue and yours are not. It just I don't like Dave Filoni.
Yeah, he.
I still think that this season of Mandalorian has more to do with Favreau than Filoni.
Yeah, this last episode was written by Favreau.
As
So I
much
was
as I
like,
really
he says, "Why do you care? It's all fake anyway." No.
Wow.
I will absolutely agree though that this is a bad take to be saying to a bunch of fans that do care about canon in a world that, as somebody who is touted as being the next kind of person in charge by a lot of people calling for him to be there. That's not a great thing to say. It's like when George says like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. We don't really care about canon." Like, that's not a great take. That's not. Yeah, I'm not gonna hate him for it, but I don't think it's a great take. It's kind of a dumb thing to say.
Yeah, why say it though?
Mm-hmm.
Try to find this one from the headline, but yeah, I don't know. It's just silly.
But hey, Ahsoka is coming.
Yeah, it's just
I'm
the
so
general
excited about that.
attitude.
That still looks pretty good.
I think it looks terrible. There you go, the fingernails back.
I hope it sucks to make fun of it, but if it's good, we can recognize it's going to be. If it's good, it's good. You know, we recognize it as good.
Yep.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I don't think it will be, but we'll see.
I mean, the
We
tendency,
shall
yeah.
see. We got. There's more bad days. Let's keep them going.
Let's keep that tone up.
James Gunn says, "I'm blessed in this way to be able to set aside his ego for Superman Legacy and promises a better movie without Henry Cavill."
By canceling everything except your own stuff. That's putting away your ego, all right.
You had to have a huge ego to be saying that you don't have an ego. You know,
Well,
literally.
I don't have an ego, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Peter Quill doesn't have an ego.
So this process has worked for me. Oops, I did it again. I did the thing.
You always do that.
So he's responding to the question, who gives you notes at DC? So it's interesting to see the numerous responses to my answer here, but giving how notes work. When I begin writing scripts and stories, blah, blah, trusted parties for notes. Listening to constructive criticism is the lifeblood for any writer. Really? Okay. So as the head of DC, he gives the scripts to people he trusts, like when he's right. He gets their thoughts so he can improve the script. But he hasn't answered, like, he's clearly asking about official notes, right? Not just feedback. Right now, he's saying, I get feedback from my friends. He's not answering the question.
People at DC, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
He's still
kind of a dumb question anyway, though. He's supposed to be. He is the head of DC, though. Why? Who
He's
would
not
be
the head of
giving
DC.
notes at DC?
Oh, okay, sure.
Well, the
co-head
people
of
that
DC.
give him the money.
Yeah. Again, maybe the people that give him money, but yeah.
I've never, as a director, been given notes I was ordered to take. Not from Universal on Slither, not from Marvel on Guardians of the Galaxy. Really?
It shows.
You've never been forced to do anything by Marvel? I highly doubt that.
My guess is that maybe it was just stuff that he already knew ahead of time, so it's not something that somebody came to him and said, "You have to change this." That's the closest I can get to what that makes sense to. For
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
I agree. Marvel is definitely going to be having told him, "This is what you need to do."
Not changing, but they probably told him, "Okay, this is what we need to sell to China."
Yeah,
and
this is what we need to set up for the other films.
Yeah. They gotta be giving him notes to change things that they cannot be put on China.
Feige's talked a lot about that idea of like he's the one that's putting together the story. He's the showrunner of the whole MCU storyline. So he'll tell the directors, you can do, we start out here, we need to end here, we need to do this and this. You can't do this and this. Go make the movie. So,
by the way, when is the Guardians of the Galaxy 4 or 3 or whatever?
That's not that far away.
Sometime next month. I think it's the 8th. Right. I think it's the 8th. I can look it up.
Oh, nice. We can talk about that.
So aside from not answering the question, like he's trying to ask, like, who do you answer to? He's just saying, oh, these are whatever. Okay. This process is, I've been blessed to work with partners that I've chosen to work with, right? We're all moving towards one thing, making the movie better. And I can put my ego aside and be open when I need to be and convincing when I need to be. I know this is not the case for everyone, and I wasn't always the case for me as a writer. Again, I'm blessed this way, but that's how notes work. I'm not going to suddenly stop taking them because I'm the head of a studio. This is not the Where's the rest of the quote? I don't know. I'm not seeing what I want to see from him.
Yeah.
What we see with this guy is his ego, and that's all. That's all we see on this guy. All the movements he has done to this point are ego driven, and I really really expect this to crash and burn, like in the first 2 years, and he's not gonna get another second chance, and he's gonna get off. Probably gonna get off. These kind of movies, big budget movies.
Yeah. The problem is they're not starting off the gate with well-known franchises. They're starting off with
it's an odd
the
choice.
Suicide Squads, and it's like
which he has done well with in the past. Like he started out
Sure,
with
but-
Guardians of the Galaxy, which nobody knew.
Yeah,
but it's
not the same.
I'm still intrigued because I think the problem is he's coming from a very messy situation over there to begin with, and isn't doing a great job of we're cleaning shop versus continuing stuff.
But he just hasn't been honest, though.
No.
He's constantly contradicting himself. If he was honest about it, I've repeatedly said, I understand the need to start fresh. So as much as I would hate it, if that was the real motive, I would understand letting go of Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Right.
And he was given a clean slate. Like they literally told him that you can do whatever you want, start fresh, and he didn't. He put his own. He left behind his own thing, his Suicide Squad, Precious Suicide Squad. Which, to be honest, I rewatched that thing like 2 or 3 times, and it gets worse the more times you see it, and it gets dumber.
It's supposed to hit theaters in 2 years.
Imagine that.
Superman,
that means it needs to start filming like
now.
By
But
next
also,
by the end of the year,
Superman
probably.
Legacy was like the 5th one on the list that he announced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because a lot of the rest of them were like animated or TV shows.
Yeah,
that's the first movie.
Yeah, but they're going to be CW level of not only audience, but
it could be,
probably
although
quality.
they're separating from CW, it seems. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know, but those shows still have some audience, and still people watch them. Some hate watching, to be honest. Some watch them because they are so bad that they're good, but they will have probably better levels of audience than the new slate, the new TV shows and animated shows, because nobody knows what the hell are those.
I'm definitely curious. I'm not excited.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, because the argument behind,
Same.
for example, a CW show like Gotham Knights, which is getting some audience, at least some
barely
some viewership. Yeah, but for CW is normal
odd.
numbers, regular numbers. Is not doing worse than, for example, Batwoman, which but because it's Robin, and because it's Robin, and Robin again, a lot of Robins, and because Batwoman, but who are the things he's doing? Who are the characters?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. None of it makes sense.
I'm definitely with you. I'm being curious. I guess I can't quite say that I'm excited either, but I'm a little bit more hopeful than I think you are. But
okay, you can be hopeful and not excited.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You can be hopeful and not trust in that hope.
That's how I'm feeling about some of the Mandalorian stuff. Yep.
To answer the question about Warhammer, I have not played it. I have some friends that are pretty into it. I'm not like uber close with them. I do have one set of Warhammer miniatures that I've painted, but I've never played it. I just use them for D&D. I could go get them, but
I always wanted to play Warhammer
Yeah,
because Henry Cavill,
right.
basically, and but I feel like in Mexico you cannot get that into Warhammer because you don't have access to the figurines and those kind of things. And there's no one else that plays that. Probably there's like probably 0%, 0.01% of Mexicans that play Warhammer or have played Warhammer.
It's an expensive hobby if you're going to get into collecting all the figures and making armies.
I've got a buddy that's got a board game that's based in the Warhammer world. That was a lot of fun. We played.
No, that sounds way more interesting than actually buying the figurines.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. They have video games, they have board games, they have books.
Even Dungeons and Dragons has like board games too. Yeah, so a bunch of them do. But yeah, I've got that buddy is into Warhammer, and I'm intrigued to see because I'm right there with David and Mark. Intrigued about the Henry Cavill project, and I'm going to be listening a lot to my friend to see what he is going to bring in. He talks a lot about it.
I definitely didn't follow like the official color scheme or whatever. I think it was a Death Watch. Probably saying that wrong.
You want to bring yourself up?
It came with six
screen?
It came with 6 minis. Yeah,
it was a little easier to see.
This is probably one of the better paint jobs I've ever done. Like, look at the shading on his.
Yeah,
coat.
the detail looks
that's actually really good.
Yeah, it looks great.
It's blurry though.
Yeah,
But I've got like a nice little like effect on the sword.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like a little green energy sword, and man, that looks terrible.
Nice.
It's so blurry.
it looks like a hot
Really,
like
I'm really
a
proud of that
jade.
one. I only pulled 3 of them out but a nice little shield on.
And you painted these, huh?
Yeah, I painted.
That's awesome.
I paint minis. I haven't done it in a while, but I need to get back into it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
like a
lot of
fun
detail
hobby.
that you can't see.
Yeah.
Can I cover my face? No.
Looks like a fun hobby though. Like I said, there's something like culturally we don't have in Mexico at all. Like no one is painting miniatures here in Mexico. Nobody.
That's the extent of my Warhammer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, I'm
that's
with
it.
David. I'm in the same spot where I don't have the time to put into getting into it.
Yeah. And it's a big. It's something I know. If I started, it would just suck me in, and I don't have the time nor the money to jump into a hobby like that.
Here's another bad take. Am I sharing the right one? That's the question. Can you guys can't
This before, and I'm going to get in trouble. Before, and I'm going to get.
You hear it? Yeah.
Okay, we can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, this is on The View.
This before, and I'm going to get in trouble. But I have said this before, and it's been in print. I don't know what the difference between our Christian right and the Taliban is. I have no idea what the difference is.
You're not the only person who's said that.
I just don't know what the difference is.
Yeah.
What's happening in this country right now in the name of religion is so dangerous.
Just right off the tip of my tongue, off the top of my head, the Christians don't behead you for being gay.
Yes.
There's a big one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend that I met on Discord, and he was talking to me like how he went for the first time to Iran, and one of the first things he saw was the beheading of a gay guy, and
Lovely.
the mother of the gay guy was screaming that he basically profanities to him while he was being decapitated.
Also known as
That's
a
the
Tuesday.
difference. That's the difference. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the main difference. I mean, don't get me wrong.
There are a couple other differences too.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Christians in a time,
Yeah.
in the dark ages, literally.
Oh yeah.
When they were called the dark ages, not in the modern times, no, in the dark freaking ages.
Yeah.
Okay, they did behead it.
A lot of
Inquisition and the Templar. Yeah.
I would say a lot of people were pretty bad back then too. So
And I'll even give the perspective of they're feeling like there's a lot of very anti whatever else out there from right wing and especially like right wing Christianity concept. But I also think that there's a lot of over exaggeration about what's going on with the right wing versus the Taliban. Yeah.
It's okay to be Christian, guys.
But
you don't have to be.
There's a big difference though
there's a
between
big difference.
an extremist and somebody who's just a normal good Christian that's trying to do what's right.
But even in the streams, like I said, even in the times of the Crusades and in the times of the Holy Wars and whatever, they were the civilized ones. Like, for example, in Mexico, when they came and we talk about the Inquisition, and the Inquisition was wrong, and what they did to the indigenous people of Mexico was wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But those freaking Aztecs, man, they were insane.
Exactly. Yes, the Christians did some really bad things. But when they showed up, the rest of the indigenous people rallied behind them to get rid of the Aztecs and the Mayans.
like 6 different type of
They only showed up with a couple of ships, and yet they conquered all of America because they had help from the natives.
that they were enslaved by the Aztecs.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
funny thing is that I was just eating pozole, which, if you know anything about pozole,
Is racist?
no,
Oh, sorry.
you don't know about
I just
pozole.
assumed.
You don't know about pozole. That pozole was made from human
Originally?
human meat. Yeah, originally
Really?
the whole legend
Should try
about
that.
pozole, I don't recall quite well, but I don't know if the prisoners that they got from war, they would cook them in a whole pot and will make stew, and the stew will be red, and that's why pozole is red. And it's everybody in Mexico knows this. It's like a common, like a legend, you know. It's probably not exactly like that, but they did, well, were cannibals, and they did
Human sacrifice
horrific
all the time. Horrible
Yeah.
stuff.
But the way that they're going to frame it is that if it's not white, then it was cultural and
yeah.
yeah.
But you cannot say that because they were brown.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they're saying that, oh, they were Aztecs and therefore it was a great culture, because
no.
there was still some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there wasn't other messed up stuff going on that white people were doing, but that was some messed up stuff too. Just
Yeah.
because it's cultural, it's not white, doesn't mean that it's great, you know.
Yeah, and every other culture didn't do that at all. They were like so smart. The Mayans, the whole thing about the Mayans, they were such a smart civilization, and they were nothing like the freaking Aztecs. Those
biggest thing,
dudes were on drugs.
This is why I love the concept, even though I don't know if it always came across.
Literally.
I love it. Is of your incredibly nuanced segment there, because like that's the thing. There's nuance. It's not as cut and dry as good bad. It's not usually that cut and dry. There's a lot of bad involved on both sides, and calling good things bad and bad things good.
And what she's trying to do, here, it's hyper conflation. I don't think that's a word, but I'm gonna make it.
I gotcha.
She's trying to say that
with extremism,
Christians, because they don't like, or because they believe that homosexuality is a sin, they're just as bad as the Taliban's for beheading.
Yeah, and they don't even sodomy is a sin.
You can believe that something is wrong and not kill people that do it.
And you can stand up for that and say, I believe this is wrong.
Yeah,
and then still have a nice conversation.
If you
and
ask
realize
me,
that this is a
exactly.
person, you know.
There's lots of other sins too that I believe are sins, and that normal people imbibe daily.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
we are
it's not hatred to have beliefs. I can believe that it's a sin to be gay, or it's a sin to be homosexual, and not hate homosexuals.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the actual sin is sodomy, which a lot of religious personalities always say. So that's the whole argument. I mean, I always say that if you find love is such a hard thing to find. So, but if you go and whore around and do things that are disgusting and morally, I don't know, reprehensible, you're not doing the best thing with yourself, and because you're a being of love, like you said, God is love, and we are all part of that love. So you are not doing service to that miracle life and all those things. And that's what I say. So if you love someone and you committed to a loving and nurturing relationship of support and whatever, you're an adult, do whatever you want. But everyone can have their own ideology. That's what we have to fight for.
Jared likes Star Wars, and that's against my religion. So we still get along,
and we mostly get along
most of the time.
as long as I'm protected from the emotional elements going on.
Yeah, but love is a different thing than sex. Love is way purer, and
that's a good point, though.
Yeah. Here, I got this stinger for you right there. incredibly nuanced. There you go.
Yeah.
We got one more bad take, and it's a doozy. It's
No dressing. No.
it's a pretty bad take. Starting a rewatch of Lord of the Rings of Power, I feel like this show caught too much flack for the wrong reasons, no less. A slow burn cooked to perfection, an epic drama in scale matched only by its incredible beauty. What are your thoughts on the series?
It was incredibly beautiful.
What's funny is he never explains the right reasons.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He never explains the right reasons. I'm gonna reiterate: the Lord of the Rings of Power is good, comma or period, very good.
Yeah,
it is a great response.
And, that looks like Peter Jackson there too.
It does.
I believe it is, actually.
It could be, but it definitely looks like it. Whether or not it is.
The worst take is one of the replies that I read, which was this one. Oh no, not this one. Sorry, it's Awful TV. Yeah, this is a good one. It was the he's muting this now because he got so many wrong. It's this one. It's very good, better than the Hobbit films, and even than the theatrical editions of the original trilogy, but not the extended editions. There are some issues with pacing and writing, but in acting, costumes, music was good. They got Howard Shore, and he's great.
And the visuals,
set design, and faithfulness to Tolkien's world and ideals,
absolutely
a true joy. And it's not even questioned.
No,
they are very high on that show, apparently, because they are
Return of the King, maybe.
Something.
Yeah.
Return of the King.
He's saying, I don't know if it's better than the theatrical versions of the films. Maybe Return of the King, but yeah, I have zero respect for this person. That's a horrible take.
I think that they've nailed it on the head here, though, where they say he's very high on the show, because boy, he must be smoking something.
Oh yeah,
right?
Some of their responses,
bro. Smoking, trust me, smoking doesn't make you dumber. If you're dumb, you're dumb.
Yeah, some of the responses were like, "I want whatever pills you're on, because dang, I need that in my life."
He's
like,
smoking rocks.
Yeah,
he's smoking
because honestly, one of the things that bugged me the most about the Rings of Power was the exact same sort of problem that I'm having with the Mandalorian. I love Star Wars a little bit more; it's a little closer to my heart, even though I do love Lord of the Rings. And this is one season of an episode of a show where the first two seasons were overall pretty good. But there was this idea of just like a nonsensical jumble of some story plots that they wanted to do, and then just poorly connected and paced through the series. So yeah, maybe there was a slow pacing that if you enjoyed some of the leaps in logic and leaps in destinations that you got, might have been perfection in the pacing for what it was presenting. But what it was presenting was nonsensical, is the problem. And the same problem with Mandalorian, where because you didn't know where they were going to go, they had to fill in 8 episodes with this whole deal. I don't know. It's just, oh goodness.
And you can tell this guy right here on that same note is a paid actor, because it's straight from the script of justifying the Rings of Power. I loved it, especially when I view it as the first part of what is essentially a 40-episode long story. It was a setup for what's to come in the next 4 seasons. Yeah, but what you set up was filth. I feel like that's going over a lot of folks' heads. It's the setup, the first season. Lots to unravel.
But you bungled the setup. That's the thing, is I can embrace when something is like, hey, this is setting some stuff up. All right, cool. But it wasn't, because it was just bungled in the storytelling and what it was trying to drive towards, because it wasn't driving towards anything in a sensical way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Hey.
Those are the bad takes. These
are apparently my real feelings too. So
here's a couple memes to cheer you back up. Men to demand reparations from women due to Eve eating the apple.
That's going back way far.
It's a
We
good one.
owed a lot of reparations to that.
And Hasbro introduces new Transition Me Elmo doll.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna close that one real quick.
Yeah, let's not discuss that further.
Game.
That's yeah. I'm really tired. I don't have anything else to talk about. I haven't even finished a book. I'm almost done with what's it called? Shoot, Conqueror's Blood, which is the sequel to
Gunmetal Gods.
Gunmetal Gods.
Right.
I was gonna say Elder Epic, but that's book 3, which like comes out next week.
Nice. Let me know when you get around to the Shadow series for Ender's Game, because those are some great ones.
I will read them eventually. It's not going to be. It's not going to be soon. Like I'm talking like maybe 2 years.
Oh goodness.
I have a lot of other things on it. I feel like I finished a good arc. I'm like, yeah, I know I need to read those eventually, but I have so much that's been on my list for longer than that, and I finished the Ender series, and that was that was the priority. But
yep, that's fair. I'm just mad that like it took so long getting Tress that I'm like, now I'm in the middle of the Shadow series that I got to finish that before I can get myself back into the Brandon Sanderson kick that I wanted to have this entire year of Sanderson. But
well, you better hurry up because we have a lull in the programming. There's nothing to talk about now, other than just bad takes. So I actually don't know what we're going to do next week. It'll either be a Sanderson stream talking about Secret Projects 1 and 2, or it might be an author interview. I don't know when that's happening, but it might be interviewing my friend who wrote the Dragon Thief guys. I don't know if they're comfortable doing a live stream or if they want to like pre-record something and edit it and stuff. So
Well, keep us posted. Let us know.
We will have a show next week. I don't know what it's going to be. It might be Sanderson. It might just be hanging out and talking. Maybe we'll just do like an ask
It's
us
my
anything.
birthday.
It's your birthday?
The 29th.
Hey.
Well, we gotta do something special. Maybe we just make it
Mexa stream.
the Mexa stream and just do like an Ask Me Anything or something. I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Well, he's technically angry. 3/4.
We'll be here hanging out.
I
I don't know what it's going to be. We'll have a couple of weeks of I'm not quite sure what we're going to be talking
We
about.
can talk movies that we like.
Yeah, for sure.
They're the things.
Just get like recommendations and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have a show.
I need recommendations, bro. Like we don't get those things in Mexico. We can talk about that, for example.
Yeah.
You can tell me something, ask me something, and I will tell you that we didn't get it here.
Did you see that? No, I haven't seen it. Okay. Well, have you seen this? No, we didn't get it here. Okay. It's going to be a riveting show. Well, we'll let you guys know. We'll definitely have a show. I don't have it planned yet. I'll plan it out at the beginning of the week, and I'll be in contact with you guys, obviously, and let you know what the show's going to be about.
Sounds like a plan.
But yeah, and then hopefully I'll finish. Man, the book though that I am reading it's really good, and it's shockingly good. When I started reading it, I was afraid I wasn't going to like it because the main characters are different for a reason that if you've read the first book, you'll understand. And it was harder to get into, especially, and it's probably because of the audiobook too. Like it was hard to keep track of the different characters because they all have Indian names. Okay, if they were named Bob and Stephen, it would be easier for me to keep track, right? But they've got all these fancy names, and so with more characters being introduced in the second book and different viewpoints, it was a little bit harder to start, especially audiobook. Like if I was reading it, probably wouldn't have been as difficult, but I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And literally like just like a couple chapters in, I was just like, okay, I'm into it. It's really good. It's shockingly good, and I'm liking it way better than the first one, and I loved the first one.
Nice.
It's intense. It's very, very intense, and some crazy stuff happens. So And the author follows me on Twitter because he's so cool.
I just sent a link to a TikTok that I thought was really funny that kind of plays in with your ideas there.
You want to watch it on stream?
If you want to, or you can just watch it later. But
okay, I'll watch it later. All right. You guys have anything else to talk about?
That's all I got.
I didn't. I watched a movie. I had time to watch a movie this week. Can't remember what it was. It was an old movie. I watched Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's been on my list to watch for a long time, and I finally got around to watching it.
That's a
and
good
I was
movie.
bawling the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
I've heard just amazing things, and I really want to check it out.
That's what gets me.
Really,
What
really
gets
good.
me every time is the ending of the Fellowship of the Ring, the choosing to sacrifice, over your personal comfort and being willing to lay down your life to save someone else. And that, I don't know if you know this, that's the entire plot of Hacksaw Ridge. It's not just a moment in the movie, it's the entire
thing,
movie. The premise is it's about a guy who goes to war just to help people. He refuses to use a gun.
Refuses to pick up a gun. Mm-hmm.
He just works as a medic and runs into the
And he
front
literally
line,
saves
just carrying people away.
everyone.
Yeah.
It's
not just
freaking-
his side.
It's
everyone.
freaking good. I was
It's
crying
so
the
good.
whole
And
movie, and I was like,
Andrew Garfield is
can't handle
so
the
good.
end. I can't handle the ending to Fellowship of the Ring, and this is just that the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know the best part here is in that movie, his character is a Christian.
Yeah, but it's Seventh-day Adventist, so I don't know if that counts. Anyway, we'll see you next week.
Hey, I was trying to drive it home with those other people. Come on now.
All right. And it's Mel Gibson, and I really like Mel Gibson. So, directing, he's a great director.
Yep.
He said some bad things. I get it, but he's a dang good director.
Good his job.
See you guys next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Pleasure.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.